Good evening, everybody. If you can hear me, just type in yes into the chat so I know that we are good to go. If I'm audible, you can hear me, just type in yes into the chat and I know we are all together. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joy. Kende. Fantastic. Loud and clear. Thank you, Mohammed. All right, so good to have you all join us today for this amazing session. We are expecting a lot more people to join us, so would start and then others would join us along the line. But just before we start, I just quickly want to ask, is this the first time you're joining a Analytics session? If you are joining us for the first time, just type in a yes into the chat so I know we have some newcomers in the house. Ariola Samson says yes. Brilliant. Emmanuel, yes, it's my first time. All right, you're all welcome to our session today. We'll have an amazing time. Okay, we are diving into something very new for so many people, which is Microsoft Fabric. But the essence of our session today is not just to show you what Fabric is all about, what Microsoft Fabric is all about, but to also show you how to get started as a data analyst or as a data scientist. All right. So if you've always wanted to get into tech as a data analyst or scientist, this is the best place for you to be. I will walk with you to show you step by step on how to get started. And obviously we'll have a practical session today on Microsoft Fabric because it's a trending new technology by Microsoft. And for those of you that are already familiar with data analytics or data science, then you'd understand that it's also something very interesting that you'd like to be a part of. Okay, so I'll share my slides and I'll walk you through how our session would go on from today. Hassan says, I'd like to DM you. That's fine, Hassan. You can send a message to me. That's totally fine. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and then we'll take it from there. Welcome, everybody. Those that are just joining, welcome, everyone. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Mohammed just confirmed that you can see my screen and then I go on with the session for today.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, I can see your screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
All right, just give me 1 second. I'll need to relaunch my Zoom.
Recording in progress.
All right, so let's get started. Now, our session today would center around leveraging Microsoft Fabric as a data scientist and as a data analyst, or you can put it as a data scientist or as a data analyst. So I want you to tell me, have you heard of Fabric before? If you've heard of Microsoft Fabric, just type in a yes into the chat so I know you've heard. If you've heard of Microsoft Fabric before, just type in a yes into the chat. If you haven't, type in no. So it's totally fine for you not to have any idea about what Microsoft Fabric is all about. And that's the reason why we are here. But if you've heard of Fabric, just type in yes into the chat. Okay, no, no, no. Mary says yes. Abdulaziz says yes. Okay. So we have a lot of no's. I'd like to get more feedback. So I know the people we have in our session for today. Okay, Josiah says no. So we have a lot of people that are new to Microsoft Fabric. So what we'll be doing today, by the end of today's session, you'd understand the essence of Fabric and why Microsoft Fabric is very, very important, number one. Secondly, you'd also understand why it's important to you as a data analyst or a data scientist. So for some of you, you've always wanted to get into tech. You've always wanted to get a remote job, working out of your country, working for organizations, the biggest and the best organizations across the globe, earning in dollars, spending in your local currency, and so on and so forth. But you really don't know how to start. I've gotten so many questions saying that, oh, I've started learning. I've always been learning on a particular platform. I've always been learning, watching different videos, but I haven't been able to get a job. And it's been almost a year. What do I need to do? And what I've noticed over time when I engage such people, you find out that you are learning things that are not necessary to you becoming a data analyst or a data scientist. So you are learning irrelevancies, you are learning things that are not needed by the industry. So part of the things I'll be showing you today would center around the skills, the different tools you need to learn, the structured learning approach. How do you start? Where do you start? What do you need to learn step by step? And then we'll get into the entire skill set of a data analyst and a data scientist. Our session today would last for 2 hours, and I would like to crave your indulgence for you to stay to the end of the session, and would share the slides, would share the recordings for those that stay to the end of the session. And we have an amazing offer that I'll be talking about just before we wrap up our session for today. Now, who are we at Tenalytics? What's Tenalytics all about, and who are we? All right, some of you said this is your first session, you've never been in a session before. So for us at Tenalytics, we are an educational technology company helping Africans and people of the Black community to get into tech. And one of the ways we have been doing this over the last 3 years is by providing premium training programs within different areas centered around data, within the data ecosystem. So from data analytics to business analysis, to data engineering, to HR analytics, financial analytics, power platform engineering, and so on and so forth. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality of the facilitators that we bring to bear. So we bring the best of the best, those that do the job on a day-to-day basis. They are the ones that will be your trainers, your facilitators, to walk you through the nitty-gritty and the process of becoming either a data analyst or a data scientist. While we offer several programs across different areas, our focus for today would center around 2 key tech career paths: the data analyst career path and the data science career path. So please feel free to ask your questions. You don't need to put on your video so that we don't distract people that would love to pay attention. Okay, so my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm the founder of Tenalytics. I have close to a decade years of experience cutting across management consulting and data analytics. I've worked for some of the biggest organizations across the globe, across 5 different sectors over the last 10 years of my professional career. I've worked in the financial services sector. I've worked in educational technology, automobile, professional services, and so on and so forth. And one of the things I love to do is helping people transition. Okay, I'll be sharing some of the success stories of those who have been a part of Tenalytics. They've gone through our different training programs and how we've been able to help them bridge the gap between learning in the classroom and getting a job. So they've moved from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. So how were they able to do that? So we've been able to, understand exactly the right strategies to put in place. And I'll be sharing that with you today. You also have Efemena. You can see Efemena, who is the co-founder of Tenalytics. Efemena works, has several experience working across Europe, the UK, and the Middle East. He currently works as the business data support lead with the post office in the UK. And he's worked across different organizations as a business systems analyst in Ireland. And he has close to a decade experience as a data scientist as well. Now, some of our achievements cuts across, like I mentioned, helping people transition and helping people make that switch into tech. For those of you who would want to get started, in 2022, we're able to help over 500 people transition from the classroom to landing their first jobs across the UK, the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, Africa, and so on and so forth. And One of the interesting things is you find most of the 500 people that were able to make the transition are people that have never done tech before. They have no degree related to anything tech. They have no experience in tech. They were switching from being a baker, a farmer, an accountant, a strategy consultant, a banker, switching from their current career path into tech. Okay, and I'll be sharing some of their stories with you as we move on during our session today. And our participants cut across some of the biggest and the best organizations across the globe. So we have people working in Fraser's Group in the UK, the NHS, the Post Office, Autoglass, Bellrun, eBay. Mohammed, can you just confirm that you can still hear me? I think there is something wrong with my Zoom, and I'm not sure you can hear me. It might go off for a while. If it does that, I'll quickly change my laptops, and I think there is something wrong with the Zoom on this laptop. I think I updated it last week, and since then it's been acting up. I thought I'd fixed it, but it's still acting up. So what I'll do very quickly, if you just give me 1 minute, I'll quickly switch my laptops, use the other laptop so that we can get this sorted out. All right. Okay, so I'm still here. For those of you that have questions around what we've discussed so far, feel free to send your questions to the chat. So what I'm just simply going to do is I'll set up my other laptop. I would open that up, connect to the class, and then we'll continue. So I just have an issue with the Zoom on this laptop, and I think that's why I'm having a glitch. It keeps on logging me off, bringing me back on, but I don't want us to have that disruption while the session goes on. So just give me 2 minutes and then I'll switch my computer. Okay, so Mohammed, I want you to just let people that are joining newly just know that I'm trying to switch my laptop and then we'll continue. Somebody's saying they can't hear me. Yes, you can't hear me because I'm trying to switch my laptop. Just give me 1 minute and then I'll be done with that. Okay, I'll be right back.
All right, welcome everyone. So like Adais has said, he's just trying to, get his laptop sorted out. Okay, and he'll join us in a bit. All right, Akinbi and Awodiron. All right, so he'll join us very soon. He'll join us very soon. So what he was saying was that many of our participants, are currently working in the biggest and the best organizations, across the globe. All right. So I'll just adjust my screen. Sorry, I had an issue there. So I'll continue. Right. So Victor, if you can hear me, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen. I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. Now, what Adeza was saying was many of our participants, currently work with the biggest and the best organizations across the globe, from the NHS to Amazon to Nestle to FCMB, and the list goes on and on. All right. Now, a lot of media channels have also picked up the good work that we've been doing here at Analytics, from Business Day to Nairametrics to Punch, PR Fire. And you can see they keep on reiterating the fact that here at Analytics, we've been able to help Africans. We are helping Africans. We've helped Africans, to transition from a non-tech role to getting their first tech job. We've also held hackathons. We held one last year where a sum of 1 million naira was up for grabs, and 5, participants in that hackathon went home, with a chunk of the cash prize. All right. We've also helped women. We've given 300 women scholarships, in a bid to lowering the entry bar into the tech space. Right. We also held a data hackathon early this year, where $1,000 was up for grabs. And it's not just about the money. Okay, it's not just about the money. Now, if you look closely at the quality of judges that attend or that judge or that facilitate these hackathons, you'd see that they are the world's best. Okay, across this very panel that you can see here, we have close to 5 decades of combined experience. Michelle Conway is the lead data scientist at Lloyds Banking Group, right? Sadiq Akintola works as the smart analytics customer engineer at Google. Sebastian Obeta is a data scientist and an AI ethics researcher in the UK. Olamide Jola Osho is the head of data and analytics at Wema Bank. And these are people who give their feedback once, participants make their presentations in this hackathon. All right. Now, what we'll be doing today is we'll be looking at Fabric. Like Adeza mentioned earlier, Fabric is a new suite created by Microsoft. All right. And one of the things that helps you stay ahead, get ahead, and remain relevant in the tech space is staying up to date with the latest trend. Okay, and that's what this session today is centered around. So we'll be looking at what Fabric is in a moment. Okay, and like we always do it, would be all right. So Adeza, your hand is raised. Hello, Adeza. Your hand is raised. Can you hear me?
All right, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm back. So sorry guys for that break in transmission. Sometimes technology can fail you. I got a new laptop, installed Zoom on it, and unfortunately Zoom has been crashing after, since I got it installed. I really don't understand why that is happening. I have no clue why that is happening, but I think I'm on a steadier laptop now, so we can continue with the session. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for that wonderful presentation. So I'll just continue from where I stopped. Okay, and like I said, I want the session to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to ask your questions as soon as they occur to you. I'll be very happy to answer all the questions you have. Mohammed has talked about what we'll be looking at today, which is Microsoft Fabric. And one of the things I'll be showing you is how to set up your Fabric account. Okay, so for some of you who have never used Fabric before, this is the best place to be, because you'll be learning something that even experienced analysts within the industry have no clue what Fabric is all about or what to do with Fabric. So what I'll be showing you is how to set up your Fabric, set up your account, and also how to utilize Microsoft Fabric as a data analyst or a data scientist. Once we are done with that, Mohammed would come in and show you how to leverage practically, how do you solve a problem, a data science related problem in Fabric. Victor would also talk about how to solve a data analytics related problem in Fabric. And then I'll come back to show you, and this is one of the most important parts of our session today. How do you become a data analyst? Or how do you become a data scientist? That's one of the questions I get all the time. How long do I have to learn? What are the skills I need to learn? What are the tools I need to consider when trying to make that transition? I'll talk about that. And then I'll speak about our upcoming session, which comes up on the 5th of August, like Mohammed mentioned. And I'll talk about our success story. Okay, so before we dive into what Microsoft Fabric is all about, like Mohammed was trying to say, we'll set up a Fabric account, and I'll show you how to get that done. Now, my advice to you to get the best value out of this session is to watch what I'll be showing you, understand the concept, understand everything step by step, and then at the end of the session, tomorrow is Saturday, thank God it's Friday, you have time tomorrow at your own convenience to implement and practice all the things we'll be showing you. Okay, so Microsoft Fabric is an all-in-one solution developed by Microsoft. So as an analyst, there are different tools you need to learn. Okay, for now, let's not bother about the tools. Like I said, I'll come back to tell you what those tools are. But imagine you need to learn 5 different tools. And those 5 different tools are from 5 different companies. Okay, Microsoft Excel, most of you would know Excel. You have Microsoft Excel, you have Tableau, you have SQL, but they're from different companies. Now, what Fabric is all about is bringing all those different tools into one environment. Okay, so instead of having your Excel, which you would use to carry out analytics separately, having Power BI separately, your data science, your notebook where you run your Python code separately, instead of having all those things in silos, you have them in a single environment. And this is a game changer because once this starts getting adopted across the industry, organizations would leverage this extensively, because what it means is everybody on the team, the data team, can work from the same place. And that's what Mohammed and Victor will be showing us today. All right, so let's see how we can set up a Fabric account. And like I said, you don't need to bother trying to do it now, so you don't miss out on key explanations that I'll be giving you. All right, so I'll show you how to set it up. You get a recording. For those that stay till the end, you get a recording and you can go ahead and implement all the things I'll be showing you today. All right, so I'll just share my browser and I'll show you how to start, what you need to do, and how to move on from there. Okay, now one of the first things you must do when trying to set up a Fabric account is to have a Microsoft Outlook account. So you need Outlook. If you don't have Outlook, it's fine. You have to create an Outlook account. So I'll just go ahead and share my browser and then let's continue with our session. So step number one is having an Outlook account. If you don't have Outlook, you need an Outlook account for you to set up Microsoft Fabric. All right, I have an Outlook account, so I don't need to create one. If you need to create one, all you need to do is go on Google and just type create an Outlook account. Simple. And once you go to your browser, you search for that, you'll see how to create an Outlook account. Just click on that, follow the steps, you create an email. Basically, that's what it's all about. But I already have an Outlook account, so I'll just go ahead and set up my Fabric. Okay, so before setting up the Fabric, like I said, you need Outlook. You need Outlook. So I'll type in Microsoft Developer Program. Okay, Microsoft Developer Program. Now, the developer program is where you would set up a developer account. So once you have an Outlook account, you then need to set up a developer account, which you would use to activate your Fabric. Okay, so step number 1 is to have Outlook. Step number 2 is to have a developer account. So I'll just search for Microsoft Developer Program, and then I'll come in here, right click on this, open in a new tab, and then I'll create a developer account. So how do I create a developer account? I'll come down here where I have Join Now, and I'll click on Join Now. Okay, so just click on Join Now. And what we're trying to do is to set up a developer account using your Outlook, which you must have created. If you have an Outlook, you can just go ahead and use that. If you don't have one, then you can just create one yourself. Okay, so I'll type in my Outlook account, Adeza Suleiman 2023 at outlook.com. Okay, Adeza Suleiman 2023 at outlook.com. Click on next. Okay, it would ask me for my password, and I'll type that in. Click on sign in. Okay, so it would ask me questions. I'll just click on yes. Do you want to save your password? Yes, I want to save. I'll click on save. Okay, so the next step, it brings you into join the Microsoft 365 developer program. Okay, so you want to set up your region. I'll type in my region, United Kingdom. That's where you are, your location. You just type that in. All right, type in the company. You can use any company. It doesn't have to be a specific company. Okay, you can use any company. So I'll type Adeza 2023. Okay, so that'll be the name of the company. Language preference would be English. Language preference is English, and then I would accept the terms and conditions. Would you like to get more information or tips? You can click on this or not, and then I'll click on next. Okay, so it's asking what's your primary focus as a developer. My primary focus as a developer would be personal projects. Okay, now this could change in an organization. Okay, you're setting this up in your organization, it's likely going to change. Okay, so I just click on personal project, I'll click on next. It would ask me what areas of the Microsoft 365 development am I interested in. I'll just select everything. Okay, you can just select everything. Power Platform, Outlook, Office add-ins, Microsoft Teams, just select them, click on save. Okay, so as we do this, we are setting up our developer accounts. Now, next step is to do what? We have two options. One says Instant Sandbox. The other one says Configure Sandbox, all right? I'm going to select the Configure Sandbox option. Configure Sandbox option so that I can set up a domain, all right? And you see what the domain is all about now. I'll click on Configure Sandbox, and then I'll click on Next, all right? So the moment I click on Next, I would have, it already recognizes my region, United Kingdom, create username, create a domain. Okay, so I'm going to select a domain, I'll select a username. So my username would be Adeza 2023. Okay, so I'm just creating a username, and you can see this down here. The moment I type in something, it pops up at the bottom. It shows me a preview of what I'm creating. So Adeza 2023, that's my username. And then I'll create a domain. So domain is something like, if I have an email at Tenalytics, my email is adeza@tenalytics.io. All right, so my domain is tenalytics.io. So I need to create a domain that I'll use for this particular login to configure my developer account. So my domain, I can use anything. Let's see, I'll simply use, let's use Adeza just to make it easy. I'll use Adeza, let's see, 2023. Let's see if that's available. Yes, it's available, right? So my domain, my username is Adeza 2023. My domain is Adeza 2023. So this is my account. So you can see that there, Adeza 2023 at Adeza 2023 on Microsoft.com. Okay, so that's what I have. I'll create a password. The password is a bit tricky. I need to tell you that the password has to be 15 characters. I must have a special character as well. All right, so I'm just going to enter a password. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, I'm not sure that it's not taking this password. So I'll try another password. So like I said, it's a bit tricky. Okay, it's a bit tricky. I'll do this. Okay, I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget, because like I said, it can be tricky sometimes. So I'm just going to write it down. Right, I hope that's it. Let's try it again. So does not match. Okay. Still doesn't match. So what did I put in here? Let's try one more time. One more time, and I think this should be it now. Okay, so that's it. So I've entered my password. Okay, I've entered my password. And like I said, it's tricky most of the time because it asks specifically for 15 to 20 characters. You must have special characters, uppercase, lowercase, and so on and so forth. So I'll just click on continue. If it's asked that I want to save, I'm going to click on save to save the password. All right, so that I don't have to, in case I forget, I can always go to my password manager and look for it. And it would ask for my phone number. So I'll enter my phone number. Okay. Send code. So it's meant to send a code to me. And once I receive that code, I would enter the code in there. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for the codes to come in. And it's saying if I don't get the code within 3 minutes, it should be instant. So once you enter your phone number, you click on send code, it should come within 3 minutes. If it doesn't come within 3 minutes, we would resend the code again. I've used this number before, and sometimes I think once you have used the number, it can also be tricky. You might not get your code coming early enough. Okay, you might not get the code coming early enough, but I'm just going to wait and see. Yeah, the phone number is correct. But if this doesn't go, I'll try a different phone number and see if that would work. All right, so it shouldn't take this long. So I'll just try a Nigerian number and let's see. Like I mentioned earlier, if you've used a number before, it can also give you issues of giving you the code on that same number again. But I'll try another number now and see. Okay, so let's try this. Right, John, you're scribbling something on my screen. Please don't do that. So the code just came in. So like I said, because I'd used the other number before, perhaps that was the reason why I was getting a delay. Okay, so I'm just going to enter the code 22485. Right, please, if you are scribbling on the screen, don't do that so that we don't have distractions. All right, so and I'll click on setup. So once you get the code, you enter the code, you click on setup, it would set up your developer account. Now, once you have your developer account, you then go ahead to activate Microsoft Fabric. So let me just recap. First step is to have Outlook, Microsoft Outlook. If you don't have an Outlook account, all you need to do is set one up easily. So once you have an Outlook account, the next step is for you to come to Microsoft Developer Program. Just search for it on Google. Just Google it. You'd find Microsoft Developer Program. Click on it, set up a developer account, just like I've done. And once you have this, this is my domain name. And this is very important to what I would be doing today, and also my email, which is my account, the developer account itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this email because I'll use it. And once you have your developer account, the next step is to simply open a new tab, and I'll just type in Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric. That's what we are here to learn today, Microsoft Fabric. So you'd see data analytics, Microsoft Fabric, and then you'd see sign in for Microsoft Fabric. I'll click on sign in, right click on it and open in a new tab. Okay, so now I need to enter my email in order to set up my Fabric account. Remember that developer account I created, right? This developer account, this is what I'll use. The administrator, the email, this is what I'll use, okay? So I'll copy it, I'll come in here, and where I need to enter my email for Fabric, I'll paste it in there, Control V, and then I'll click on submit. You cannot use a personal email for Fabric, it would not work. If your organization is not also subscribed for Fabric, it would also not work. Okay, so you could try your corporate email, you could try your personal email, it would never work, except your organization has a developer pro license for either Power Platform and some of the other Microsoft platforms before you can have access to Fabric. But this is one of the easiest way anybody can have access to Fabric. So I'll come in here and type in my password. Okay, so let's type in the password. Password is incorrect. Okay, let me try it again one more time. All right, so that worked. Okay, so now I'll just click on yes, I'll click on save. So save so that I don't have to struggle when I'm trying to sign in again another time. All right, so now I'm going to access Microsoft Fabric. And usually what happens is, for those of you that are used to Power BI, especially Power BI service, you'd see that this is a lot like Power BI service. All right, this is a lot like Power BI service. But if you haven't used Power BI service before, like I mentioned, what you are learning today is something that even people in the industry don't know how to use. So you are learning a new, unique skill that is very recent. This Microsoft Fabric came up, I think that was about 2 months ago, if I'm correct. So it's still very, very new. And the industry is just still trying to grasp and understand what it's all about, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm just going to click on got it. It's just trying to tell me that, okay, this is what the Fabric, this is what it looks like, but this is not Fabric itself, because the Fabric items have not been activated. So how do you activate the Fabric items? You need to carry out 2 key steps. And that's why the session is recorded. It will be available to you Tomorrow, at your own convenience, your quiet time, you implement all these things. So I'll go to the profile, I'll click on that, my profile, I'll click on it, and I'll click on what? Start trial. Okay, so it's a free account. So you have trial for about 60 days, which is 2 months. Okay, so I'll click on start trial, and I'll click on start trial again. All right, so successfully upgraded to a free Microsoft Fabric preview trial, and then I'll click on got it. All right, so once you do this, that's the first step. The next step is to then activate the Fabric items. So I'll go to my settings at the top. And the moment you activate your free trial, you'd see that it says Fabric trial, 59 days left. So you have 2 months to use Fabric, see how amazing it is, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'll come to my settings, click on settings. All right, and I'll go to under governance and insights. I'll go to admin portal. I'll click on that. And once I click on admin portal, here I'll click on got it. You'd see Microsoft Fabric preview. Okay, users can create Fabric items. I'll click on that drop down to open it up. All right, so it is currently enabled. Okay, if it is not enabled, you have to enable. So it's currently enabled, and I can use Fabric items. So when you come here, if it's not enabled, you enable. Okay, the entire organization can use the Fabric items, and then you click on apply. So once you do this, you would be able to use Microsoft Fabric items. And remember, Microsoft Fabric itself, why is it important to the tech industry? Why is it important to analytics, to a data analyst or a data scientist? It is a one-stop shop for your analytics, your data science, your database, data warehouse, your data engineering. So you have different modules packed into one solution, which is unprecedented. Okay, so now this is done. I'm just simply going to click on home. All right, I'll click on home. And at the down left corner, you would see Power BI. Okay, Power BI is one of the suites that is part of the Microsoft Fabric. It's a Fabric item. If I click on Power BI, you'd see the other Microsoft Fabric items. So Power BI, Data Factory, Data Engineering, Data Science, Data Warehouse, and Real-Time Analytics. Okay, we're going to leverage the different Fabric items. And once we see how they work, how can I create a data science project, or how can I solve problems by using data science, writing Python codes? Mohammed would come to show us how to do that. Victor would show us how we can also build our dashboards on Microsoft Fabric. So for those of you that have MacBooks, your Apple laptops, most Apple laptops you'd struggle to install Power BI on them. This is a game changer, because now that you have everything available on the cloud, you can model your data, you can create your dashboards, everything using Microsoft Fabric. Okay, so I would hand over to Mohammed. Mohammed would come up and show us how to leverage Microsoft Fabric for data science. He would walk us through a case study, and like I said, all you need is pay attention, see what you'll be doing. We'll talk a little bit about Fabric and then show you how to use the data science item of Fabric to get something amazing out of it. So if you're somebody who has done data science before, this would also be very interesting. If you haven't, enjoy the process and enjoy the session so you can ask questions afterwards. And then I'll come back to tell you, if you want to get into data science, these are the strategies you need to put in place. If you want to become a data analyst, these are the strategies you need to put in place. This is how you must learn. And this is how you can easily transition and get a job. And I'll share some very interesting success stories with you. So Mohammed, if you are there, I'm just going to hand over to you so you can continue from where I've stopped. Okay, so welcome, Mohammed. So Mohammed is a senior data associate with Analytics. Mohammed would walk us through the data science bits of Microsoft Fabric. And I'll be right back with you to walk you to the end of the session. Okay, so over to you, Mohammed.
All right, thank you very much, Adeza. That was a very fantastic one, right? So you've been able to create your developer account, and you've also activated the Fabric items. Okay, you've also activated the Fabric items. All right. Now, how do you work as a data scientist? Okay, how do you work as a data analyst using Fabric? We're going to be looking at this case study, a very interesting one. All right. Now, you've been employed as a data analyst or a data scientist with one of the largest retail stores in Canada. And one of your first tasks is to investigate the customer spending habits to facilitate an upcoming campaign in the organization. Okay, so just give me a moment. Sorry about that. I'll make this. All right. I hope it looks better now. So please confirm if it looks nice and clear. All right, fantastic. Now, you're a data analyst, a data scientist, okay? And you've been charged with analyzing customer spending habits. Now, one key thing as a data scientist, one of your key roles is you'll be conducting an EDA. You'll be conducting what is called an EDA. What is an EDA? I'll just touch on that. An EDA is, take, for example, a data scientist, rather. A data scientist, all right, is like a detective, okay, trying to look for who is the culprit in a particular crime case. So you're a data scientist, you are the detective who is trying to look for the culprit in a particular crime case. Now, you've seen all those movies, Sherlock Holmes mentioned there. That's exactly who a data scientist is. Now, where does a detective start from? Right? A detective would look at each of the individuals that have anything to do with that case, okay, and investigate each of them before going on to look for whether there are any relationship between these two individuals, and then finally hit or clamp down on the culprits. Now, when you apply that to data scientists, what you are doing is you are looking at the key elements in your data. You are looking at the key elements in your data. And if you look at the questions we have here, you have what is the distribution of customer age group in the data set. Okay, I'll just go back. What's the distribution of customer age group in the data set? Now you're looking at just customer age group. Second question is, you'll be looking at the distribution of spending score, all right? Spending score, that's another entity, another individual who has something to do with this crime case, okay? Now, another individual is the annual incomes, the annual income. So you'll be looking at the distribution, okay, of the annual income of the customers. You also be looking at how the data set is distributed based on gender. And finally, you'll be looking at what is the income distribution based on age group. Now, because you are looking at each of these entities, one after the other, it's called univariate analysis in data science. Univariate analysis, when you look at, each element one after the other. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, right? That's what we're going to be doing. So you'd download the data set using this link, all right? You download the data set using that link, and then you head over to your browser. Now, you've activated Fabric. What I'll simply do is I'll sign in into Fabric. You can simply type Microsoft Fabric. Okay, Microsoft Fabric, hit enter. Okay, I want to click on Fabric sign in. Okay, Fabric sign in. So I'll click on that. All right, Now, because you are signed, you've created the developer account, it's possible that your browser picks up that account. Okay, if it doesn't, you need to enter the account, the developer account you created, and then you'd click on ask later. Click on ask later. Don't click on next. Click on ask later. If it asks you to, authenticate, just click on ask later. And what you'd notice is you'd see the landing page of Microsoft Fabric. You see the Microsoft Fabric icon here at the bottom left, and then you see all the Fabric items. All right, you see all the Fabric items on your screen. Okay, now you can see I'm logged in here and I've activated the trial version. Now, the reason why we are using the trial version is because we want to also give you we know that many of us we are not organizations. Okay, many of the individuals on this call are not organizations themselves. So you may not have you may not have bought the license. So we are using the trial version in this session so that whatever we have here is going to be similar to what you have when you're working on it on your own as well. Okay, so now we are data scientists. Okay, data scientists. So I would click on Synapse Data Science. Synapse Data Science. Okay, now once you click on that, what you'd notice is that you'd see the different tabs here. You see home, create, browse, okay? But by default, you have a workspace called My Workspace right here. You can see where I'm hovering my mouse. You have My Workspace, okay? So when you click on My Workspace, that's the default workspace that comes with Microsoft Fabric, okay? This is the default workspace. All right, so what I want to do now is to create a new workspace. I want to create a nice and clean workspace, okay, where I would do all my work from start to finish. So how do I do that? You see workspaces over here. Click on workspaces, okay? Click on workspaces. You can see the other workspaces that are created in the past, okay, that has been created in the past. I created these workspaces. So you won't have any workspace created. All right, so you need to create a new workspace, and you click here at the bottom here where you have new workspace. Click on new workspace, okay, and it says name this workspace, and you can see it's very easy to use. You're clicking here, and it's an intuitive, tool to use. Now I'll just call this. I would call this Fabric Master Class. Okay, Fabric Masterclass. Once I do that, I don't need to touch any other thing. I simply click on Apply. Okay, click on Apply, take a step back, and then you see your workspace is being created. Okay, your workspace is being created. And as you can see, yes, just as expected, you have nothing in here. You have nothing in here. So now I've created a workspace. So what? The next step is you'd create what we call a lake house. Now, what is a lake house? A lake house is the one lake in Microsoft Fabric environment where you bring in your data, and store them there. Okay, so if you need it for a SQL query, you can access that lake house, and get your data. All right, it's just like, how many of us know OneDrive, Google Drive? If you know OneDrive, Google Drive, you know what it's used for. Just put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay. All right, just one person. Okay, 2 people. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So OneDrive, Google Drive, what you do is you can upload your files there and store them there. That is the exact same thing you're doing with Lakehouse. So you will create a Lakehouse, we'll bring in our data, and then we'll continue from there. So you'd click on new. Okay, this is your workspace. Again, remember, this is your workspace, Fabric Masterclass. So click on new, and you can see all the tasks you can carry out in your workspace. Okay, all the tasks you can carry out in your workspace, data pipelines, data flow gen 2, and Victor will be touching on that. Okay, now you'd see Lakehouse, and you can see the shape. It looks like a house. All right, you can see the icon there. So click on Lakehouse, and it says name. Give your Lakehouse a name. Okay, so I would say Fabric, or I would say, let me say my first Lakehouse. So this is the first Lakehouse that you're creating. Okay, so it's not going to take space. It's not going to take any other character. So I'll click on create. So that's why I used underscore. Okay, my first Lakehouse, and you can see it's loading the Fabric environment is loading my Lakehouse. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, the Lakehouse is for you to store your data. Okay, you can store your data in form of files, and you can store your data in form of tables. Okay, you can see this is my Lakehouse environment. This is my Lakehouse environment where I store my data. Okay, and you immediately see all the options, how you can bring in data into your Lakehouse. Okay, if you click on get data here also at the top left, click on get data, click on the drop down, you also see the same options. Okay, but what I'll be using is upload files. So click on upload file. Okay, click on upload file. I see something pops up here. Okay, so I'm just, okay, all right. So there was a notification, and I'll touch on that very soon. Okay, but let's upload our files. Okay, let's upload our file. So click here, and then you see your local disk. Okay, you see your local disk. So what I want to upload is customer data. Okay, and open. All right, so it's a CSV file, customer data is in the space. Now, if I had a copy of customers' data already in my Lakehouse, I'm going to have to check this box that says overwrite if files already exist. Okay, so this is my first data set. I won't worry about that. I'll just click on upload, and you can see it's uploading. Okay, so it's done uploading now. Okay, so if I click on files, I'll see customer data. Okay, so just to touch on something. So you would notice you saw a notification that popped up here. So if I click on notifications, you see all the notifications that I've had in the past. So this was what popped up. Because I created a Lakehouse, the Fabric environment automatically created a SQL, what we call a SQL endpoint. Now, what is a SQL endpoint? This is the channel you can use, to query your data using SQL. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. So I'll close that up. Now, we have our data sets in Lakehouse. So how do we start coding, or how do we start analyzing? Okay, how do we start analyzing our data to answer those key questions that I mentioned? Now you see open notebook here, open notebook. So click on the drop down, and you want to click on new notebook. Okay, new notebook. If you want to use the file in an existing notebook, you can click on existing notebook. Okay, so I'll click on new notebook. Click on new notebook. All right, it's loading the new notebook, and you can see here, this is notebook 1. Okay, this is notebook 1. Okay, notebook 1. If you click on the drop down, you can change the name here, but by default, it is notebook 1. Notebook 1. Okay, notebook 1. And then also notice that I'm working in my Fabric Masterclass workspace. Okay, that's the workspace where I am currently working. And because I opened a new notebook, okay, through my Lakehouse, I now have my Lakehouse here. I have my Lakehouse in here. Okay, I have my Lakehouse in here. If you had opened, a new notebook outside your Lakehouse, you would have to bring in the Lakehouse. Okay, how you do that? You see add, click on add, and then you can add the lakehouse to the new notebook. Okay, so but an easy way is click on the drop down where you have new open notebook, click on new notebook, and then it's going to bring in that lakehouse. Okay, so now I have my Python environment where I can code in Python. Okay, and these are cells. If you are new to Python, these are cells. But if you are not new to Python, you immediately notice that this looks familiar. Okay, it looks like your notebook. All right. So, but if you're new, this is these are your cells. Okay, this is your cell, and you can add a new cell by clicking on code. Okay, you can also add a markdown cell. Okay, by clicking on markdown. Now, what's the difference? For those of us who are new, a markdown is simply, when you want to you want to write comments, you want to give your notebook heading. We'll be using it, you'll see how then our code cells are cells that we use to write our code. Okay, you can also convert a code cell to a markdown cell. Okay, so let's start. So I'll start with a markdown cell because I want to do a very neat work. So I'll give my work a heading. Okay, I'll give my work a heading. Now, to give a heading, I'll use a hashtag. Now, the more hashtags I use, if I use 2 hashtags, the heading will be smaller. Okay, so this is the first heading. If I use 2 hashtags, it means it's a subheading under the first heading. Okay, so I would use a single hashtag, give a space, and say master class customer masterclass customer spending analysis. Okay, masterclass customer spending analysis. Okay, so that's my heading. Okay, that's my heading. I click enter. Okay, so I want a subheading under this heading. So I'll use a double hashtag. Give a space. Remember to always give a space. And I'll say question 1. Question 1. Okay, and you can see my preview. You can see the preview nice and clean. Okay, so I like the way it looks. I'll just click on the preview and then it closes up the cell and I have my heading. Okay, so I have masterclass customer spending analysis question 1. So, okay, I forgot to add the question. I wanted to write the question so that whoever comes to this notebook, can know, okay, this is the question I want that this person is answering using this code block. All right. So double click on the heading, and then it brings back the cell, the markdown cell. So I'll just hit enter, and without putting any hashtag, I'll just say, what is the distribution? Now, this is the first question we'll be answering. Okay, what's the distribution of customer ages in the data? Okay, what's the distribution of customer ages in the data? Okay, and then I click this. So I have my question there. Okay, so I'll just correct that spelling right there. Yeah, so now I've done this. Okay, so I've asked the question, but where's my data? Where's the data I want to analyze? Okay, so I have to bring in the data. Before I can proceed to answering the question. Okay, so how do I bring it in? Click on files, okay, click on files, and you see customer data, okay, customer data.csv. You want to click on the 3 dots beside it and hover your mouse on load data. Okay, load data. If you want to use the file path elsewhere, you can copy file path, but we'll use load data and we'll click on pandas, click on pandas. Now, for those of us who are very familiar with the Python environment, you know that to load data into your notebook itself, you have to write code. But in the Fabric environment, you don't need to write code. Simply load your data, okay? Click on this, the 3 dots here, over your mouse here and click on pandas. Okay, so once you do that, you'd have this cell. So I'll run this cell here, this play button on the top left corner. So I'll just collapse this so that we can see my screen better. Okay, so I'll click on run cell here. Okay, I'll click on run cell. So you can see it's running. Start means it's running. Okay, it's running. You can see starting session. All right, let's give it a moment. So it's running the code and it's bringing in my data sets. Okay, and you can see I have customer ID, gender, age group, annual income, spending score. Okay, and you can see my data set, nice and clean. Good. Now, remember, I want to answer question 1. Okay, I want to answer question 1. Okay, and again, you are doing a univariate analysis where you're investigating each entity. So let's look at customer age. Remember, our question 1 is customer age. Okay, but how do I see the column headers of my, let me see the column headers of my data. I want to see the column headers of my data. So I'll say, now, one thing to note, just before we go to column headers, when you load your data into your notebook or Fabric in this manner, by default, your data set is DF. It's called DF, just a short for data frame. Okay, it's a short for data frame. So it's called as DF by default. Okay, so I'll say DF dot columns, DF dot columns. Okay, DF dot columns. Shift enter to run. Okay, shift enter to run. Okay, shift enter to run. Sorry about that. Now you can see my column headers. You can see my column headers. I have customer ID, gender, age. Why have I done this? So it's easy for me to easily scoop a column that I want to analyze. I can scoop it, I can copy, paste, so I don't need to keep typing. Okay, so I don't need to keep typing. Now, I've seen my column headers. Okay, I've seen my column headers. All right, so the next thing I want to do is, because I want to visualize, I'll be plotting some charts to show the distribution of each of these entities. I'll bring in a library. There's what we call libraries. For those of us who are new, we have libraries in Python. Remember those your movies, your Merlin, for example. Okay, you know that when they want to learn an art, they learn it from books. They go and they pick it from libraries. So it's very similar in the Python ecosystem. It's all called libraries. So when you want to perform a craft, I won't call it witchcraft. When you want to perform a craft, you have to invoke some libraries, and that's what we do now. Now, for my visualization, okay, just use a hashtag as a comment. So this is a code cell. I'm using a hashtag. That's because I don't want that line to run. Visualization library. Okay, visualization library. Hit enter. Okay, so I'll import matplotlib. Okay, and you can see suggesting matplotlib. I can hit my tab to complete it. .pyplot. Okay, .pyplot. Okay, as plt. Okay, as plt, and I hit enter. Okay, I hit enter. All right, so I'll enter again. Now I'll come back to what happened to this. I'll explain what happened. So I'll import. I want to import my analysis library. And I'll import numpy as np. Okay, numpy as np, hit enter. Okay, now what happened here is the Fabric environment, okay, wants to give us an explanation of this library. So when I hit enter, it automatically loaded this it's like a toolkit that explains the library to you, but we don't need that. Okay, we don't need that. So I'm just going to delete that and say as PLT. Okay, as PLT, and I run this. I run that cell. Okay. So once that's done, nice and clean, I have my visualization libraries and my analysis libraries ready. Now, remember, I want to analyze age. I want to analyze age for my question one here. What's the distribution of customer age? Okay, so let's analyze age. So because I want to analyze age, I'm going to call out ages. I'll call out ages. I'll call it out from the data set. Remember, your data set is the F. Okay, the F. All right, open a square bracket. And in this square bracket, I need the column name. Okay, because I have the column name here as age. So I'll just copy this, including the inverted comma. Okay, I'll copy that, come here and paste it. Okay, I'll copy that, come here and paste it. So I've called out age, the way you call out people on Twitter. I've called out age. So, but that's not all. Okay, that's not all. I'll be plotting a histogram. Okay, I'll be plotting what we call a histogram. Okay, and a histogram is a visualization chart in data science that allows you to see the distribution of your data sets. Oh, okay, I have customers, with ages ranging from so to so, but which age group, which age bracket does most of my customer fall in? So I'll plot a histogram and I'll be using PLT. Which is what I imported using Matplotlib. PLT, okay, dot hist for histogram, okay, and then I open a bracket. Now in this bracket, because I've called ages, okay, I'll type ages, comma, okay, comma. Now, how many categories do I want? Okay, we don't call them categories. We call them bins. And you can see here, okay, it's telling you already, suggesting bins to you because it knows that that's what's next. Okay, Fabric knows that that's what is next. And you saw, okay, it was loading just now. So I'll just write bins, not beans, not the beans that beans as in BINS. Okay, so you can use 50, you can use 20, but I'll be using 5. Okay, so again, it's the number of categories you want, that to give you. Okay, now I'll be using, next is my edge color. I have to specify what's the edge color, what should be the edge color of my, okay, that's not how to spell edge. What should be the edge color of my chart? And you see that once I do that. So I want black, and black is K. Notice I put the K in inverted comma. Okay, in inverted comma. So I press enter. Now I have to make my chart as descriptive as possible. So I'll write what title I want to be in the x-axis, that's down on the chart. What title I want to be on the left-hand side. Okay, so for the down part of the chart, I'll say plt.x label. Okay, x label, open brackets, and I say I want age to be there. Okay, how about my y? plt.y label, open brackets, I want count, because I want to see the number of customers, in a specific age range. Okay, now I'll say plt.title to give my chart a title. I'll say distribution of customer age. Okay, distribution of customer age. All right, distribution of customer age. I hit enter, and finally I have to show it. I'll show it, and to do that, I'll say plt.show. Okay, open and close brackets, shift enter, to run, shift enter to run. So you take a step back and you'd see your visual pop up. You'd see your visual pop up. Now, as a data scientist, you don't just visualize and pass. What do you notice about this visual? Now, if you look closely, you'd notice that between the age range 20, your early 20s, okay, early 20s and late 40s, because these were 40s. So this is late 40s. It's not 50 exactly. So many of your customers, you can see the bars, many of your customers fall within the age range of 20 and late 40. Okay, early 20s and late 40s. So how would I do that? What I'll do is I want to write down that insight, that specific insight that I just mentioned. Okay, and I want it in bullet points. What I'll do is I would open up a markdown cell. Okay, remember your markdown cell is for your writing. Okay, because I want a bullet point, I'll say dash. Okay, dash, and I'll say most of the customers are between the early 20s, and you can see my preview is popping out and you can see the bullet points, okay, and late 40s, okay, late 40s, I hit enter. So I can put another dash, and here what I'll say is the data set is skewed to the right. Skewed to the right. And you may be wondering, well, what's skewed to the right? It's very simple. In data science, we observe the shape of our charts. Okay. Now a histogram that flattens. If you look, it's very steep from zero. It's very steep here, and then it flattens towards the right. It flattens towards the right. That's why it's skewed to the right. So again, I like what I see here. I'll click on it, and then I have it there below my chart. So whoever comes here can easily see that, oh, this person answered question one. Sorry, person answered question one. Okay, person answered question one, brought in the data, okay, and did visualization. So, and these are the insights. Okay, now let's go to question two. Okay, let's answer question two. Okay, I'll be pausing at question two. I'll stop at question two. Okay, because we don't want to keep you more than necessary on the call. Again, stay till the end. You'll see Victor will come up, show us how to leverage this tool as a data analyst as well. Okay, and then you'd get the recording. You also get the materials. I've put in the codes there for you to answer the remaining questions. We have 5 questions there. Okay, so I'll just answer this question and then I would hand over to Victor. So again, I want it to be a subheading under masterclass. Remember, it's masterclass. So I would use 2 double hashtags and say question 2. Question 2. Now, what's question 2? Question 2 is what is the distribution? What is the distribution of spending score? What is this distribution of spending score among the customers? Okay, among the customers, question mark. All right, so I like how it is. So, and then I have a code cell here. Okay, now because I want to now look at spending score. All I have to do is I'm going to copy this code cell. Now you don't need to recreate it. I'll just copy it. Okay, I'll copy that and paste it here. Control V. I paste it here. But if I run this cell, you'd agree with me that what I would have is ages. I would have results for ages. Okay, I would have results for ages. Now, I need to edit this code so that I have spending score specific items in here. So now what I'll do is I need to get the column headers again. So I don't want to scroll up to go and copy the column header. So what I will do is I'll insert a code cell here. Remember, I've not run this cell. Okay, I've not run this cell. So I want to see my columns again, just like I did initially. So df.columns, I run that, and I have my column headers. Okay, so I want to see spending score, and you can see spending score here. So instead of calling out ages here, I'm going to change this to spending. I'll just type spending score here, spending score, because that's the name I want to give it. So later on, I'll say spending score. I'll use an underscore. Okay. Now, instead of ages as the column header, I want, sorry, copy that, copy, and then I'm going to paste it here. I'll paste it there. Okay, Control V. So I have spending score. Good, I have spending score. Now, because the name I've called it out as is spending score, I'll copy spending score. This spending score, as you can see on my screen, copy, and I'll put it here where I have ages in my histogram. Okay, Control V. All right, so I put the name that I used to call out this column in here. So again, I can leave the bins as 5 if it's 5 I want. Okay, and then for the X label, what I want there is spending score. I want spending score, so I'll type in spending. Okay, that's spending. Type in spending score. Okay, spending score. So I'll leave Y label as count. I'll leave Y label as count. That's what I want. And I'll change customer age. I'll just change age, not customer age to. I'll just change age to spending score. Spending score. And I have plt.show. All right, so I'll run this. Okay, I'll run that, and I have my visual. Again, you want to observe the visual. Remember, you're a detective. Okay, you are going to investigate each of these individuals one after the other. So what do you notice about spending score? You notice that customers that have the spending score between 40 and 60, occur the most in your data sets. All right, they occur the most in your data sets. Okay, that's one. But is it skewed to the left or right? So I want to see that. Is it skewed to the left or right? Just type right if you are for right, type left if you are for left. Type right if you are for right, type left if you are for left. Okay, is it skewed to the right or left? Okay, fantastic. We have gurus in the house. Tony says, I think it's a normal distribution. Okay, someone says right. Okay, Emmanuel, Tega says left. So right, left. Yvonne says left. Okay, thanks for that. So I like the fact that you are following. Okay, so now when you are in doubt, whenever you are in doubt, okay, you don't know whether it's left, you don't know whether it's right, what you should do is reduce the number of bins that you have. So I come back to my code block, I have 5. So I'll reduce it to 4. Let's reduce it to 4. Okay, reduce it to 4 and run that cell again. Okay, shift enter, run the cell again. Now, you can see it's quite balanced. Okay, it's quite balanced. And that's what Tony was trying to say, by saying normal distribution. So when you have a histogram that is balanced, okay, it's not flatter on the left more than the right. They are about the same. You call that a normal distribution. Okay, so I would insert a markdown again. I'll put in my insights. I want it in bullet points. I would say customers with spending scores between 40 and 60 between spending scores 40 and 60, or call the most, or patronize, patronize the retail store the most. Okay. And finally, I would say the data set, or the data, I'll just say the data is to, skewed to, not skewed, is a normal, distribution. It's a normal distribution. Okay, people would have got me there. Okay, you people have got me there. Mohammed, what are you doing? You just said normal distribution now, and you're saying skewed. So it's normal, okay? So, and that's the process you follow. You answer the remaining questions. Okay. So if you enjoyed, if you've not used Python before, okay, you've always felt Python is difficult. What do you think now? I want to see it in the chat. What do you think? Do you think it's easy? Do you think it's something you can easily learn? Type a yes in the chat. Type a yes in the chat. Fantastic. Well done, Samson, Olawi, Yvonne, Manuel. Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Python is not difficult, okay? Python is not difficult. And just a spoiler alert, next week, join us in our masterclass. You'll be seeing Adeza and the Femina, showing you how to leverage ChatGPT as a data scientist and a data analyst, okay? So Python is not difficult. Understand the concepts. You don't need to build codes yourself, okay? You won't need to build codes yourself all the time. You have documentations, you have a lot of resources you can use, and you are good to go as a data analyst or a data scientist. Okay, and you'll be learning that here with us in Art Analytics. So to I'll be handing over to Victor. Okay, Victor, over to you.
Okay. Hey, Mohammed, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome. Hello, everybody. Good morning to you. My name is Victor. I'm a senior data associate with Analytics, and I will be taking you through the data analyst aspect, okay, of Microsoft Fabric. Now, so far, so good. I see everybody has been enjoying the session. You've learned a whole lot, and I myself have been learning with you. Okay, so just a little extra. But now, if you notice, um, in the data world, you have the data scientists, but you also have the data analyst. Now, the data scientists, when Mohammed was telling you they are detectives, what he means is the data scientist aspect will delve into predictive and prescriptive analysis. Okay. Now, as a data analyst, we go into the descriptive analysis and diagnostic, meaning we want to know what is happening. Show me insights about what is happening. And then for the diagnostic, you want to tell me with data, why is it happening? Okay. And I'm just going to show you something I'm sure you would like to see on Fabric. Okay. So can I confirm you can all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So because of time, I'm not going to show you everything, but I'm just going to show you a sneak peek of what you need to know. All right. So like Adeza and Mohammed had already shown you, there are a series of environments here. You can jump on whichever one you want to work with, especially the ones you're more comfortable working with. For me, as a data analyst, most of the things I do are on Power BI and the Data Factory environment. Okay, but I might need a little bit of help from the data engineering environment because I may need to model my data. Actually, not just may, I will need to do some data modeling. It's not complex, okay? All right, so I'll show you something before I go on. Now, you can see through this part, okay? Where am I now? I'm in the workspace. How many of you, by show of hands, remember when you were looking at Mohammed's screen, do you remember seeing first workspace? Can I get a yes, a thumbs up for that? Exactly. So what that tells you, if you remember, is Mohammed did mention that the OneLake works as your OneDrive, okay, that you use on your desktop for Microsoft packages, right? So I'm able to collaborate with Mohammed on certain projects, okay? So as you can see right here, some projects he's the owner and some I own the project, right? So we've been doing quite a couple of collaborations, and I'm just going to show you quickly how to open a data flow, because he didn't show you how to open a data flow and did say that Victor will show you. So I'm going to show you. Okay. But you don't just go opening data flows. There is a process. Okay. There is a process. Now, the first thing you will need to do is you can go to create. Okay. Now, I'm in my data engineering environment. Like I said, you can move across environments easily without hurdles, right? So I am in my data engineering environment. Now, I want to show you how to bring in data into Fabric, right? So that you can create visualizations, because my work as a data analyst is to use visualizations to bring forth insights that can help stakeholders make better decisions, right? So the first thing I would do is I'll need to create a lake house. Mind you, I could have come to any of the lake houses. Remember, Mohammed showed you what a lake house looks like. This is what a lake house looks like. So it's like a building of a house with a water flow looking symbol, right? Okay, so just going back to show you what I wanted to show you before. So I could actually use that to bring in my data using data flow, but I just want to show you, okay? So now I click on Lakehouse, right? What happens when I click on Lakehouse? From here, I'm trying to create a new lakehouse. Why am I creating a new lakehouse? I want to bring in a data set, okay? So I can call it Fabric Pass, okay? Then I create. Now, it's going to take me to an environment which is still under my data engineering. Something you should know is the data lakehouse. It has series of data sets, not necessarily organized. They don't have to be relatable data sets. Some are files, some are tables, okay, in my lakehouse. But when I create a lakehouse, inside that lakehouse will be a warehouse. Now, warehouse is where you store data that are in tables. So you call them relational databases or relatable databases, meaning these are databases that are structured, okay? Like your table, your Excel table, all right? So I'm gonna bring in a data set. Now, this time, I will not be using upload files, which can bring files from my PC. The reason is I will show you. So I will rather use new data flow. Okay. Now, new data flow brings me into an interface that is somewhat similar to Power BI. Now, sometimes it takes a few moments to load, but it doesn't take too long. So it brings me into an interface that looks like I'm using Power BI. Okay. Just a second. All right. Let me tell you what I'm supposed to do when it finishes loading. So as it's brought me into this interface, those of you who have used Power BI before, this is very familiar. The top here, right? Under this home tab. How many of you agree with me? Right? Excellent. Do I get many more people agreeing? Or maybe you might have not used Power BI desktop before, and that's okay. All right. So we teach you how to use these things in 10 Analytics. So that's why we're here. Okay. So no pressure. All right. So remember how we came here. Remember from the start, you created a developer account, then you opened your Fabric account. Now, Mohammed has shown you how to use notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, Jupyter looking notebooks on Fabric. Now, I'm trying to show you how to bring in your data set so you can work on it on Power BI. Now, if you remember, my lake house was called Fabric class. It usually saves on this stack bar. Okay. So this is where we are, Fabric class. Don't forget that. Okay. So I want to bring in a data set. Now we did provide you the link. So I'm just going to put the link here. Now, you might ask me, why are you using the link, Victor? Why don't you just upload the file? Well, you can see the reason. This free version we are using to teach you tells you you don't have license for OneDrive. Meaning normally, if you paid for the subscription, it should dig into your local hard disk and get the file you want to use. But because you haven't paid for the package, you can't do that. But there's good news, right? What's the good news, you might ask? Well, I could always bring in the link to the dataset. So if I put the link to the file here, okay, now the file I'm using here is one of the data sets we uploaded to GitHub. Okay, like I said, the link to the file is made available in the slide, so you don't need to worry about how to get it. All right, so if I click next, you are going to see that it's going to show me what the file, what the data set looks like. Okay, it's going to show me what the data set looks like. What I plan on doing is I'm going to take you from here. I will show you what the data set looks like, which is, you can see this now. Okay. Now, then I can also create. Now, if I click on create, okay, if I click on create, it goes all the way to my Power Query. Again, another familiar place you need to see and you need to know. Okay. So if you've used Power BI Desktop again before, you then know that this is your Power Query. So everything you could do on your Power Query, you could do them here. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? Well, so I will not be doing any editing here. I just thought to bring you all the way here to see how you could move all the way, okay, into Power BI. Now you've done your Power Query. When you're done, you could always publish, but I'm not going to publish this, okay? I just wanted to show you the workflow. So when you publish, okay, yeah. So if you publish, it might take some time to load. That's why I didn't want to use that part. But just for the sake of you, when you're watching the video, when you publish it, okay, it is going to show. Yeah, you can see here, data flow 15. So this is the recent one I just did. Okay, so I've published it. So my data set is in now on Fabric, and I can work on it. Okay, so basically using this data set, all right, if I went to my lake house, okay, if I went to my lake house, I would have, sorry, my warehouse. This is a warehouse. Now, this is a warehouse of um, SQL code queries, rather, I've written from that same data set that Mohammed used on the notebook. I'm sure you must be fascinated by it, right? So I was able to write these queries. So if I could run, I could show you just to verify. Okay. So I could show you. So this is going to show me all my tables. Okay. Using a query. I could also show you customer age grouping, right? So even this, I could actually visualize this. Can you imagine? I could actually visualize my queries. So maybe you don't want to go to Power BI, you just want to visualize your query. You can actually do that. Okay, that's what makes it fascinating. Again, it's an integrated platform. So you get to do so many things with your work. Okay, so one final thing I'm going to show you, because if you remember, I told you that this is a workspace. It's called First Workspace that myself and Mohammed have been collaborating on. So because we knew that, take a good look at this. I mean, it's just a mock report. I'm not trying to do too much. Okay, I'm not trying to do too much. But
Victor, we lost you
do
for a
that.
bit there. We
Oh,
lost you
okay.
for a minute.
Okay, apologies for that. So I think it would have been where I moved to my Power BI platform, right?
Yes, just show us that again
Yeah.
and then we can wrap up.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, so like I said, I just want to show you a report I was able to build, okay, using that same data set that Mohammed worked on, right? So even from here in this my data engineering environment, if I wanted to go with this data set, I could just click on new report. It will take me straight to Power BI, straight, okay? But I have already worked on the data set before. So just take a look at this report dashboard. So this is what I was able to do within the period. Okay, it's just a mock report. I wasn't trying to do too much anyways. I just wanted to show you how nice a report you can also create in Fabric, putting into consideration that it's the same copy of data set. They call it a one copy. Okay, so the same, we're all working on the same data set within the organization, and we are able to achieve more within a short period of time instead of having to download several software packages just to do exactly the same things I have shown you. So one final summary, three main things I've done today. I've shown you we can collaborate using Microsoft Fabric. I showed you my work and Mohammed's work on our workspace, right? I showed you our names in alternation. Then I showed you that I could also write queries on the same fabric. You know, some people have had issues downloading PostgreSQL. So I can tell that this is going to be quite a relief to them. And then I've finally shown you how you could create a dashboard using the same data set on Microsoft Fabric. So I hope you've been able to learn something today in this short time. And I will hand over back to Adeza. Thank you so much, Adeza. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, Victor. Very short, brief, and succinct. Fantastic. So just to recap between what Mohammed and Victor have been able to do is to simply show how you can leverage Microsoft Fabric as an end-to-end solution. So like you said, for some people, they have issues installing one or two applications here and there, but having a tool, having a platform like Fabric, you have that unique opportunity to write your codes, your Python codes, write your SQL queries, build your Power BI dashboard, and you can build a lakehouse, which will, more or less, warehouse all the data that you have, and we can collaborate easily. So if we're in the same organization, for example, and there is a data set that as a team we are meant to work on, it becomes very easy for everybody to collaborate on that same system. Okay, so what I'll be doing now is we'll quickly wrap up our session by understanding. Some of you are totally new to data analytics and data science. some of the things Mohammed was talking about or was saying was just flying over your heads. I understand that totally. All right. So what I'll be doing now is I'll walk you through what you need to become a data analyst or a data scientist. What does a data analyst do? What does a data scientist do? All right, I'll give you that explanation and I'll show you how you can also get started. And then from there, I'd love to take your questions and then we'll call it a day. So if you can give about 30 minutes more, we'll be wrapping up the session. I can see so many people sending messages. Oh, I would like to have the recording. Those that stay to the end of the session gets the recording. You don't need to send your emails on the chat. Okay, nobody will pick the emails from there. All right, so stay to the end of the session, you get the recording, and the list of attendance has also been sent across. So please fill the form, and then you'd also get the recording as well if you do that. That's the easiest way of getting across to you if you did not register to be a part of the program. Okay, so let's quickly wrap up the rest of our session where I'll be showing you what you need to do to get started. And then we'll share some success stories and we'll take questions and answers and call it a day. All right, so Mohammed has done his practical session already. We've seen what it's all about. But now it's time for us to understand. It's time for us to understand what exactly do you need to become a data analyst. So a data analyst, you saw what Victor showed you, the dashboard he showed you. What that simply means is a set of different insights that would show any organization what they need to do. All right, so data exists in the form that it exists. Mohammed brought the data into Fabric. He wrote some codes. He was able to import the data. He saw the age distribution. He saw the spending score distribution as well. As a data analyst, your fundamental role is to help the business answer questions. That's your fundamental objective, answer questions. So let's take, for example, you work with Analytics as a data analyst. You get employed as a data analyst with Analytics. Some of the things you'll be doing is as simple as this. Analytics gets participants from different locations, from the UK, from Nigeria, from Canada, from Ghana, from the US, and so many other countries, from Sweden, from Poland, across Europe. We have participants from different locations. One of the key questions as a data analyst that would want you to answer for us is, where do we get the highest number of participants from? That's number one question. Where do we get the highest number of participants from? So how do you answer that question? Why do we even need to answer that question? So as a business, we want to know that, okay, the highest number of our participants come from Nigeria or come from the UK or come from Canada. And once we have this understanding, we can then start to tailor our free sessions like this to meet the demand and the needs of those specific locations. So as a data analyst, you would gather the data. For some of you, you filled some forms to be on this session, right? So we collected data from you. We collected your location, we collected your name and your emails and so many other things. We collected what? Data from you. So the data analyst will take that data, analyze the data using different tools, and would come up with a visualization or come up with a report to say that 55% of Analytics participants come from Nigeria. 30% come from the UK. Another 15% comes from Canada. Of course, I'm just giving fictitious figures, but that's what the data analyst would do. And the data analyst would then give recommendations to say that if 55% of Analytics customers, for example, comes from Nigeria, it means that we need to tailor more sessions to the Nigerian market to get more out of that market. That's the fundamental responsibility of a data analyst. Help the business answer key questions using data. It's as simple as that, right? So your role becomes very, very important because the business has data they're generating, data across the entire organization, but they really don't know what to do with the data. So you as the data analyst would help them make sense of that data. And for you to analyze the data, you need key understanding of certain tools that I'll be sharing with you very shortly. So you need to know how to use tools. You've seen Fabric. Fabric is it's an all-encompassing platform that contains several tools. So what are those tools you need as a data analyst to analyze data, come up with insights, to take data-driven decisions? Number one, you need to understand problem solving. That's where it all starts from, because your major role is to help the business solve problems, to help them answer questions. So what type of techniques do you need to use? If you want to get to the root cause of a problem, you need to understand how to carry out root cause analysis using different techniques. The 5 why techniques use other techniques to break problems into smaller parts, like the McKinsey model, and so on and so forth. One of the first ways you would even start is by understanding the CRISP DM framework, which is a framework you deploy when solving data analytics related problems. The understanding of all these techniques and frameworks to even know if this particular problem can be solved using Excel or solved using Power BI. It all comes with problem solving. So problem solving is exceptionally important. You can't ignore problem solving. So once you learn problem solving, you then move into Excel. Now, Excel is one of the most underrated analytic tool. And people will tell you that, look, Excel, everybody thinks they know Excel. Excel is not necessary. Once you know this, you know that, you don't need Excel. Excel is that number one most versatile tool that exists in the industry. So you move across the biggest organizations and you still find out that the tool they use for their fundamental analysis is still Excel. There's always an Excel king, an Excel queen in an organization. So you can't run away from Excel if you want to get into analytics. So once you understand how to solve problems, the next step is to understand how to use Excel for data analytics. All right. So you know how to bring data into Excel. You know how to summarize data using pivot tables, create visualizations using pivot charts for you to visualize the insights you've been able to generate from the data. Understand how to use different functions in Excel to blend your data, like the VLOOKUP, the index and match, the XLOOKUP, and so on and so forth. You learn all of that using what? Excel. So Excel gives you that entry into data analytics. Once you've learned Excel, you move to the next step, which is SQL, structured query language. Now, SQL is a language that you use to interact with databases. Any structured organization would have their data in a database, all right? So how do you get the data from that database? You need to understand how to write queries. SQL queries, structured query language, that's the language. You use that to interact with databases. You use it to create tables inside databases, extract your data, and do so many other analyses inside a database. Anybody getting into data and you don't understand SQL, you're wasting your time. SQL cuts across any role that has anything data in front of it. You must understand SQL. All right. So once you know how to interact with databases, you move to the next step, which is Microsoft's Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence tool. It's also a data visualization tool that helps you visualize what you've done. Now, what Victor showed us briefly, okay, the Fabric customer analysis, you could see some charts, you could see some visualization. That's Power BI in play. So once you've done your analysis, you need to create a dashboard, which is a combination of different charts to tell a story and show that this is what the data says, and this is what we need to do based on what the data says. And you do your visualization using Microsoft Power BI. All right. Once you understand how to use Power BI, you create your BI solutions and so on and so forth. You move into Tableau. Now, Tableau and Power BI would pretty much do similar things with regards to data visualization. However, you'd find out that in the industry, you have some organizations that would have a preference for Power BI. Other organizations would have preference for Tableau. So how do you ensure that you have the best of both worlds? So when you're applying to jobs, you don't find yourself at one side, I only know how to use Tableau, so I cannot apply to a job that requires Power BI, and vice versa. I only know how to use Power BI. I cannot apply to a job that requires Tableau. So the understanding of the two, understanding Microsoft Power BI for your visualization, for your BI solutions, for your data analytics is also very key. And understanding Tableau as well, using Tableau. Tableau, when it comes to some advanced visualization, some advanced visuals, you can easily do them using Tableau compared to Power BI, especially in the area of forecasting, predictive analytics using Tableau. So Tableau has an upper hand when it comes to forecasting and predictive analytics. Okay, and last but not the least is Microsoft Fabric and ChatGPT for data analytics. So just like we are having a masterclass on Fabric, for some people, you've never used Fabric before, but you've seen that, look, Fabric is a platform that I tell you for a fact would change the way so many organizations work, because organizations and even professionals want a platform where you can do all the things you need to do. Your data is in one place. I can collaborate with anybody as long as we are within the same organization. We can collaborate on the same data. I can build an end-to-end analytics solution, all right? And that's what AI is built on. Your machine learning models, you have a pipeline, your data engineering synapse, where your data is coming from. You have your lakehouse where the data is, everybody can connect to that data, and so on and so forth. And that's the beauty of Microsoft Fabric. So it's a new program. We are embedding it into our curriculum starting from August. And that's simply because it's new. Anybody who understands this now and starts to understand what Fabric can do, what Fabric is all about, you'd stand out from anybody else that's trying to get a job as a data analyst. Similarly, understanding of ChatGPT, a lot of people would make the assumption that ChatGPT would, or AI would take away so many jobs. And usually I just laugh and say, look, AI would not take your job as long as you know how to leverage these new technologies that are coming up, the new trends, AI, machine learning. Machine learning has always been there, but you have, technologies like ChatGPT, which I would say is one of the most fantastic things that have happened in recent times. All right, so you have an assistant that you can ask questions every day. You're trying to do, come up with a solution, carry out some analysis, but you don't know how to start. You don't know what to do. Just go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT. Copy your data headers, copy the features of your data, paste it on ChatGPT and ask, hello, ChatGPT, give me 5 insights I can generate from this data. And ChatGPT will tell you what to do. You specify the tool you want to use. I want to use Excel. I want to use Power BI. I want to use Python, and ChatGPT would help you. So these are the 6 skills you need to get a job as a data analyst anywhere across the globe. You must understand problem solving. You must understand Excel for analytics. You must understand SQL, Power BI, Tableau. Microsoft Fabric and ChatGPT for analytics is like an add-on to help you stand out from the competition, to make your work better, make your work faster, so you're more efficient and effective as a data analyst. And some of the things you'll be building, what our participants have built over time as a data analyst, you'll be building something like this. So this is a dashboard that shows a company. The company works within the travel industry. They organize trips for customers every single year, but sales started to drop, and they had no clue why sales were dropping. But one of the things the data analyst, was told to do is understand what the customer wants. So looking at our customers, where would they like to go? So that we are not going to build and develop products or services that are generic, but we want to develop services that would fit the need of our customers. So this particular dashboard was built by designing an instrument, which you'd be doing as a data analyst, getting data from your customer, asking them, when would you like to travel? Okay, so I want to ask you on the call, looking at this dashboard, looking at the line charts that says total, let me just point it out so we are all on the same page. Total respondents by month. So you have the month from 1 to 12. Okay, from this trend, can you tell me the month that the customers would prefer to travel? Based on the dashboard, you can see, when will the customers prefer to travel? Is it in January? Is it in February? Just type it into the charts. When will the customers prefer to travel? Temitayo says December. Kehinde says December. Emmanuel says December. Brilliant, fantastic. Now, there's no way you would have known this except you carry out your analysis. First of all, you have to get the data. So the data was gotten from the customers by deploying an instrument to gather data from them. Once you gather the data, you then need to visualize the data. So this was done using Power BI, and these are some of the things you'll be doing. So when you come up with this, you'd recommend to the company to say that, look, when we are planning our trip for 2024, we're not going to plan trips anytime during the year, because we can see that January, February, number of customers that would like to travel are very low. But when we start moving to the middle of the year, looking at August or July, for example, you can see there's a little spike. So from July, that's when you start to have summer. People would love to travel in July. Okay, you can also see December also has the highest. So meaning that you would recommend that when we are planning trips for 2024, we want to look at December. Plan most of our trips around that period because people would like to travel within those period. Okay, now I want us to look at the next chart, and I'll be very quick with this. You have 5 different cities. You have Paris, Maldives, Seychelles, Monaco, and Berlin. So which of the cities or destinations do you think your customers would love to go to? Just type that in the chat. I'm sure you can see what it says, but just type it in the chat. Paris, absolutely. Thank you, Kehinde. Olaiya, Temitayo, thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Tony. Paris. Okay, so like I said, the data never existed. Okay, so what you did, this particular case study, you would send out the instruments, which will be created using a Google form. You're going to connect that Google form to your Power BI, and you'd use that to generate this dashboard. This is the role of a data analyst. So once you come up with this analysis, you are talking to management, you're talking to the CEO, you're talking to the directors. This is what we need to do. Not my personal opinion, but what the data says. Right? So next year, when we are planning stuff, we know what to do. We're going to plan trips to Paris, and we're also going to plan it around December. Okay, so you have more charts, something like this. This is a sales analysis also done by one of our participants. So what I've done is to put the links of all the visuals, so you can also go check it out on LinkedIn, because one of the things we do, which I'll talk about in the next few minutes, what helps you get a job? There are so many people, they come back to me to tell me, oh, I've been learning on YouTube, I've been learning on Data Camp, I've been learning here, I've been learning there, but I've not been able to make a headway. And I ask them a few questions, and immediately I can tell the reason why they have not been able to make a headway. Number one is you have no social proof. No social proof. Now, take Kauthar, for example. Kauthar joined our program, and for everybody who joins any of our programs, you must showcase what you are building. So if you click on this link, for example, it takes you to Kauthar's LinkedIn page. You'd see the amazing stuff she's done. You'd see her LinkedIn. So if Kauthar applies to a job as a data analyst and the organization or the recruiter goes to her LinkedIn to check, They would see social proof. They would see proof that yes, Kauthar has been building. She's been talking about data analytics. She has dashboards on her profile. Okay, I'll speak a little bit more about that. And this usually is the game changer. Okay, very little things that are very, unassuming, you can easily ignore. They make a huge difference at the end of the day. Now, as a data scientist, you are taking data analytics a little bit further. All right. So as a data analyst, what are you doing? You are visualizing your data, analyzing the data and visualizing to show what happened and why it happened. All right. So data analytics itself is broken into 4 phases: descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Now, a data analyst would focus largely on descriptive and diagnostic, which is simply what happened. So if we're looking at last year, what happened last year? So you create a dashboard to show, or what even happened this year? Or when we got our data from the customers, what does the data say? Can we describe the data? So you see this dashboard you have here. This is a typical example of descriptive analytics. You are describing what your customers, the data the customer has given you. January to December, December has the highest. Paris has the highest as well. If you look at the gender distribution, male is 53%, female is 47%, the gender distribution. So you are describing the data that you have. As a data analyst, you do a lot of this. You build dashboards, you visualize, and so on and so forth. As a data scientist, you are taking it a step further to predictive analytics. So you are predicting what would happen in the future. Okay, so if 2020 we had this particular number of customers, in 2021 we had this number, what will happen in 2022? So you have to predict the future based on what has happened in the past. And predictive analytics is hinged on what? Statistics. So as a data scientist, you are going to do a lot of advanced analytics. You'd apply the use of statistics to build machine learning models and also come up with insights to help drive business decisions. So the major difference between a data analyst and a data scientist, the data scientist would do similar to what the data analyst would do, but would also add some level of statistics because you'll be doing a lot of forecasting, a lot of predictive analytics. You're going to build machine learning models to help you determine what is likely going to happen based on some variables. Okay, so a typical example of a data science role I'll talk about that when we move into the type of projects you would work on as a data scientist. What exactly do you do? Okay, and let me give you this typical example. I'm sure most of you use Netflix. You watch your movies, you watch your series, your TV shows, you watch them on Netflix. I love using this example because it's very relatable. All right, now on Netflix, when you want to watch a movie, you'd see a percentage match, and it tells you that this particular movie is 50, matches your preference by 50% or by 90% or by 95%. What that simply means is the type of movies you watch on Netflix, the movies you started and completed, or the shows you started and completed, all right, the actors that were in that movie, and all your different touch points from when did you search for the movie before you started watching, when you watched, did you pause at some point? So all those things you do for those movies you started, you completed without stopping, you completed an entire series. Your actions and your behavior would be used to create a profile for you. All right. And using machine learning, Netflix builds a recommender system. And that recommender system then recommends similar movies to the ones you have watched. So it's not going to recommend any type of movie or generic movies to you, but it will recommend movies that are similar to what you've watched before, so that there is a high tendency when you see those recommendations, those are the movies you go for. And when you always see movies that fits your personality, that you love to watch, you'd always remain on the platform and keep on paying every month to be subscribed to Netflix. So that's the job of a data scientist, to build that recommender system, to take the data of how you have been watching on Netflix and use that to build a predictive model to predict that these are the type of movies you'd like to see, and I would recommend those type of movies to you. But how do you start to build those type of recommender engines to recommend movies to customers or predict what is likely going to happen in the future? What are the tools you need to learn? First of all, you must understand statistics. Okay, statistics is very, very important. So again, for some people, they would say, I never want to go back to statistics. I've been able to escape statistics from high school and university. I don't want to go back. But to become a data scientist, you can't run away from statistics. It's absolutely important because your forecasting, your predictive analytics is hinged, your machine learning is hinged on what? Statistics. Okay, once you understand that, you then move into Microsoft Excel. But this time, the difference between the Excel you'll be learning as a data scientist is you'll be doing a lot of forecasting and predictive analytics. So you'd use different forecasting, techniques, forecasting algorithms. Okay, you like linear regression, exponential smoothing, moving average, naive approach, different techniques to predictive analytics and forecasting. So that's for Excel. And of course, I mentioned it earlier, you cannot run away from SQL if you are getting into anything data. You must understand SQL to interact with databases. Once you understand SQL, you then move to Tableau. Now, Tableau for data analytics, as a data scientist, you need to understand how to visualize. Once you've analyzed your data, to visualize the data using Tableau. Tableau is also very fantastic for you to build your forecasting, to forecast and also use some predictive techniques in Tableau, all right? And of course, you can't be a data scientist without the understanding of Python. So Python is the language you'd use, Python for data science. That's the language you'd use to carry out your EDA, your exploratory data analysis, to understand what the data says, all right? Your univariate analysis, your bivariate analysis, and so on and so forth. You saw what Mohammed did, where he was able to show the distribution of customers by writing a few codes. And what Fabric even does for you is it helps you to complete a lot of those codes. You can just go to the file, you load it, and it imports the libraries and all those things you would have done yourself. It does it for you automatically. All right. So Python is that language you use to do amazing stuff. Your machine learning models will be built using Python, leveraging different libraries and different algorithms that exist with Python. Python is a robust language for data science. So when people ask me the question sometimes that, oh, in R and Python, what do you think? It is Python any day, anytime. Okay, Python any day, anytime. All right. And of course, you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric and ChatGPT for data analytics and data science. All right, just similar to what Mohammed showed us today. And of course, how do you leverage ChatGPT as a data professional? You'd also learn that. And machine learning, you're going to build machine learning models that would help you determine what would happen based on the features of your data and things that have happened in the past. So supervised learning, unsupervised learning, you build those machine learning models. And last but not the least is computer vision. And I'll share projects built by Tenalytics participants. Now, the projects you build under computer vision, you build two major projects, all right? The first project would be object detection and also pose detection, okay? Now, if you take your phone, your mobile phone, for those of you that use iPhone, for example, or Samsung, you'd find out that you have facial recognition, okay? You take your phone, you put it right in front of you, and it unlocks the phone. The technology that drives the facial recognition is very simple. Okay, so before you set up your mobile, you put you scan your face. Your mobile recognizes your face. So when it sees your face again, it matches your face to the same image it had captured earlier. So even though you have your glasses, if I have my glasses, I try to still unlock my phone, it would unlock the phone because it has learned how my facial features look and so on and so forth. You'd work on similar projects like that. And this is an example of computer vision projects built by Tenalytics participants. And you can see that's a hand detection program built that detects the hand. So once you put your hand in front of your camera, you see your program will detect the hands and so on. So the technology that you use to unlock your phones and things like that, you're going to build those type of projects. You can see the pose detection at the bottom, and you can see it can detect the pose and the facial features as well. Okay, and these are projects, they're all on LinkedIn, built by Tenalytics participants. Different posture detection, hand detection, and this would be your computer vision project using Python. Now, one of the things I want to quickly mention is people would say that, oh, these guys must be extremely intelligent. But guess what? 90% of them had no clue what Python was even all about before they registered for the program. But guess what? Today, they are building amazing projects and amazing stuff using Python. Okay, and it's always a surprise. It's always very fascinating that it starts without the knowledge, and then you go up to the level where you are building projects like this, right? So these are some of the things you do on your data science project, your data science program. You'd also build dashboards like this. Of course, this is using Excel. You build this on Excel. This is an accident dashboard built by one of the participants in the data science program at Datapo. Okay, the links are there. Like I said, you can also check it out, see what people are doing, how they also use their LinkedIn as social proof. So of course, you can see the monthly trend of accidents in the US, the severity, the cities with the highest number of accidents, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are some of the things you'll be doing. This is forecasts for different regions. This was done by Samuel. Okay, so you'll be building projects like this. It also builds, this is an e-commerce dashboard for a company built by Ayobami. Okay, now something I want to show you very interesting about Samuel. Samuel is a farmer. Okay, Samuel is a farmer. And if you go to Samuel's profile, he clearly put it there that he's a farmer. So when Samuel was joining, he was a bit skeptical and scared. I don't think this is something I would ever be able to do. I've never done it before. Do you think I'll be able to do it? And today, Samuel is building amazing stuff using Python. So you can check Samuel's LinkedIn and see what he's doing. This is Ayobami. Ayobami also built this e-commerce dashboard, one of the projects you would work on. And working on projects or project-based learning is usually the major difference between those that go ahead to get jobs and those that don't get jobs eventually. All right. So this is Ibrahim, also worked on this particular insurance fraud dashboard. Okay. This fraud dashboard, this insurance fraud dashboard has gotten somebody a job. And I'll explain to you very quickly. Now, because of the type of projects you work on, which we always tell our participants, these are relevant experience. So if you say, oh, I'm new into the space, I've never worked as a data scientist, the moment you join Tenalytics, from that first day, you go on your LinkedIn profile and change your title. Your title becomes data science consultant with Tenalytics. So the lady applied to a job, okay, in an insurance company. She had no insurance experience. And when she met with the CEO, she was able to pass the first stage, second stage, met with the CEO. And then the CEO was a bit, skeptical about bringing her on board, he simply asked her a question that, look, you don't have insurance experience, so how would you be able to fit into our company? We work with insurance related products. How would you fit in? And what she did was just to talk about this project. That, well, I haven't worked in an insurance company before, but I've solved so many problems on insurance related projects. Okay. And she walked them through what she did, right? How she was able to detect fraudulent claims using this particular project as an example. And that was what got her the job. The CEO was so impressed that for somebody who has never worked in insurance could speak about fraudulent claims, and of course, for anybody in insurance, you know how important fraudulent claims are. Customers trying to claim, cash in on insurance claims that are fraudulent. So she was able to walk them through this particular dashboard, and she got the job eventually. So you've seen how a data analyst would work, a data scientist would work, what you need to learn. And these are skills that anybody can pick, learn the skills within the space of 4 months, and make that transition into either data analytics or data science. Okay, the program have been built in such a way that it is beginner friendly. You don't need to have any experience. You don't need to have done this before to learn the skill and make that transition into data analytics or data science. So the program is for 4 months. All right, you'll be learning for 3 months. So you have 3 months project-based live classes. 3 months project-based live classes. So either for the data analytics or for the data science, you spend 4 months. The extra 1 month is for your virtual internship. Now, the virtual internship is so important because, especially for those who are getting started within the space, you've never done this before, so you are new. You have a simulated real-life work environment where you are working on real-life cases, real-life projects, and building a portfolio. So that portfolio is what you showcase to recruiters. All right, you have a link to your portfolio. When a recruiter sees your CV, it passes through the ATS system. They click on the link to see the projects you've worked on. Okay, this gentleman or this lady says they are data analysts or data scientists. Let me see what they've worked on. Let me see their projects. How solid are the projects? And that's what the internship does. So within the space of a month, you've built a minimum of 6 projects that you'd add to your portfolio. And you'd also have an additional project from your 3 months project-based classes, because every class is project-based, and you also add that to your portfolio as well. So for 4 months, you are learning, getting into your journey to becoming a data analyst or a data scientist. And we also have different time zones to fit into the schedule of people across the globe, because we have our participants cut across different regions, different time zones. So if you're in the UK, you are in Europe, you are in Africa, somewhere in Nigeria or in Ghana or in Kenya, or you're in the Middle East, your class starts at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. All right, West Africa time, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're in the UK, currently is the same time. All right, the same time with West Africa time. So if you're in Nigeria, it's currently 11 a.m. is 11 a.m. in Nigeria, is 11 a.m. in the UK, and most countries across Europe. All right, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have something we call Watch Me Do It videos. So those Watch Me Do It videos are bite-sized videos you get to watch, learn the concept in the videos, put it into practice ahead of the next live class on Saturday. So on Saturday, you have your facilitator, you have your trainer right in front of you. You're working on projects together. He or she writes a code. You apply the same code. If you don't get it right, you have the opportunity to share your screen. Oh, I just tried what you did. I got an error. Can you share your screen? You go ahead and share your screen. We look at what you have and make the corrections where corrections need to be made. And on Sundays, you have more flexible timing to yourself to watch the videos at your own convenience. All right. So Sundays are for self-paced classes. Saturdays are for your live classes. If you're in the US, you are in Canada or somewhere across North America, we also have a time zone that fits into your schedule. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Toronto, Canada time. All right. So on a Saturday, typically what happens is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the morning, you have a class that would fit the UK, Africa, Europe class. They are in one class. And then later during the day, you have another class for those in the US, in Canada, and so on and so forth. Because guess what? 11 a.m. in the UK is around 5 a.m. in the morning in the US. Okay, so you can't reasonably have the same class for both regions. So 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Toronto, Canada time, that's when you have class for those in North America and in that particular region. So the classes are flexible. The timing is also flexible. Now, when you have learned the technical skill as a data analyst, you've learned the technical skill as a data scientist. So you know how to, as a data scientist, you've learned Python, you know how to build machine learning models, you know how to forecast, you know how to use Tableau to visualize data, you know how to use Excel to forecast, to create your dashboards, and so on and so forth. That is not what gets you the job. So what gets you the job? How do you make that switch? Your technical skill is just 50%. You need another set of skills for you to get a job. And this is the reason, if you are one of those people that have always wanted to self-learn, you want to self-learn, you want to watch on YouTube, you will learn, no doubt about it, but you will struggle to get a job. Okay, so what strategies do you need to put in place? What is that other 50% that would help you get a job? And there are these 7 different sessions, and I'll explain them very briefly. Number 1 is your CV review. Now, some of you have good CVs. Some of you don't have CVs at all. Some of you have one CV you use to apply to 100 jobs, and you expect to get feedback or positive feedback from those applications, but it would never happen simply because you have to tailor your CV to each job application. So you're applying to a data scientist role in the US, for example, a remote job. You need to look at the job requirements, look at your CV, and there are tools would expose you to. All you need to do is copy your CV, paste it somewhere, copy the job requirements, paste it somewhere, and the tool would tell you that your CV matches this job by only 50%. And it would show you the areas where you need to make adjustments on your CV so that you increase the job match. And until you are able to increase your job match by 85%, you're not likely to get called for an interview. Okay, so your CV is yourself in paper format. So it's absolutely important that you get it right. So we help you review your CV, we work with you, show you how to tailor your CV to job applications, so that as you are applying to jobs, you're applying to 20 jobs, you are applying with 20 CVs. Now, LinkedIn. I want everybody today to do something at the end of today's session, all right? Or tomorrow, I want you to do something. Go on LinkedIn, okay? Go on LinkedIn and just type hashtag Tenalytics, all right? And you'd see exactly what we mean by LinkedIn optimization. You'd see 2 key things. You'd see so many people that have built stuff on LinkedIn and they have tagged Tenalytics. That's number 1. Number 2, you'd see that they've been able to do what? Create social proof on LinkedIn to show that they have skills in this particular area. And that's where LinkedIn optimization comes in. The moment you complete your LinkedIn optimization, you start getting requests, you start getting, messages from recruiters. Do you want to interview? We've seen your profile. We love what you are doing. We love what you've done. Would you want to have a conversation with us about joining our team? That's typically what happens after your LinkedIn optimization. Now, for those who want to get remote jobs, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, you are in the US, you are in the UK, you want to get jobs in the US, for example, you need to have an Upwork profile. If you don't, it doesn't mean you can't still get a remote job, but it's a lot easier and faster to get jobs on Upwork. So it would help you set up an Upwork profile, help you optimize the profile, get it verified so that you get jobs easily. Navigating the job market. Why is this also very important? For some people, they are in the UK, but they don't know what it takes to get a job in the UK. They have no clue. You are students in the UK, you are about to, so what most students do when they come to the UK is they start to do jobs that would help them pay their bills very fast, okay? Because it can be very expensive, relocating, leaving your country, paying a lot of money for your masters, and then you need to also pay bills. You need to pay rent and so on and so forth. So you see students doing warehouse jobs, care jobs, and jobs that ordinarily they would not have done in their home countries. And they get so, engrossed in those jobs that they forget that, look, at the end of my master's, I need to have skills that would enable me transition from a student visa to a skilled worker visa or a tier 2 visa. And how do I make that transition, or how do I make that switch? Similar to most master students that also move to Canada. They don't realize until it's too late. All right. So you need to first of all even understand, if you're in the UK, for example, moving from a student visa to a skilled worker visa, which is a tier 4 visa, tier 2, I beg your pardon, it is point-based. It is what? Point-based. You need to get a specific number of points, which is 70 points. Okay, so what constitutes the 70 points? How can I get the 70 points? Is it even possible for me to get the 70 points? So these are the questions you need to start to ask, and you need to start to figure out as early as you can to make the best of it. So a lot of people don't have this knowledge, and they just try to do what everybody else is doing, the herd mentality, follow what everybody is doing, and they get nowhere at the end of the day. So our navigating the job market session would open you to different information that you need to know based on your location. Canada, for example, just launched several immigration pathways, PR pathways, several other immigration pathways for tech professionals. You have the digital nomad visa. You have a pathway where, as long as you can show that you are in tech, you are a tech professional, you can move to Canada without an offer, stay for 6 months, and then you start to figure out how to change into another visa, type, and so on and so forth. So there are so many pathways, so many provinces in Canada that offers provincial nomination for tech-related roles. British Columbia, for example, Alberta has specific pathways for tech professionals, but people don't have this knowledge. They don't know how to leverage, and you learn all of this under the navigating the job market session. And then recommendation and references. If we have time before the end of the session, I'll share some of the recommendations and references we have provided for people that went ahead to get jobs. All right. And interview preparation and job preparation. Okay. For the references, companies would only recruit you if somebody can vouch for you. All right, to say that you are credible. A credible organization can vouch for your character, because that's usually the final stage. You've passed all the stages. They want to give you an offer, or they're giving you an offer. They need to get references from your referees. Okay, so typically what happens is they send a form and they ask, has this person worked with you before? In what capacity? What did they do? Are they skilled in this? Do they miss work? Do they fall sick? They ask all these questions to get insight into whoever they are, they're trying to recruit. So this is, your recommendations and references are also very, very important to you landing a job. And of course, interview preparation. I'll share a very quick video where we had a mock session interview yesterday. All right. So you'd see how this was even general, but the interview preparation is what? One-on-one. So you schedule a session with myself, with the co-founder, and other professionals we have in-house to look at the job description and help you navigate the type of questions you're likely going to get. So you get the best when you get into that interview. You're putting your best foot forward, and you're prepared for the type of questions that would come up. And last but not the least, is your weekly mentorship. Okay, the weekly mentorship is absolutely phenomenal. That's where you get to see myself, you see the co-founder every single week, other industry professionals working with you, holding your hands to make that transition. Okay, the weekly mentorship sessions focuses a lot more on getting a job. Most people out there, I get LinkedIn messages every single day. Oh, I need a mentor. Can you be my mentor? This and that. But one thing you also need to understand is difficult to find mentors that would hold your hands, tell you what to do, what the industry demands, how you need to prepare, and so on and so forth, and do all of that for you for free. Is difficult. Not that it's not possible, it is, but it's very difficult. And it's crucial to what? Accelerating your journey. So for somebody who is self-learning, self-doing everything, DIY, and for somebody who has number 1 to 7, that person that has number 1 to 7 would move at least 2 times faster than the person that is learning. All right. So if it's going to take me 4 months or 5 months to get a job, it would likely take the other person who is learning herself or himself about 1 year or a lot longer than 1 year. And those are the stories I get every single time. I've been learning, I've joined this platform, I've joined that platform, I've been learning on my own, I've been watching videos. I have so many, courses I've bought, but I've never completed them. Okay, there's so many people in that category. So how do you start to change the narrative from 2023? So you're going to work on different projects. I've talked about the project. You work on Nestle product analytics. You're going to work on food delivery company where you would analyze data for Express Tech, which is a startup that delivers food. Castro Technologies. You'd work for Castro Technologies, helping them understand if they need to recommend or implement new infrastructure within the organization, like gyms and other social amenities within the company to keep their top talents. You'll be carrying out that type of analysis. Fraudulent bank case study, you work on this particular case study to identify fraudulent transactions in the bank, right? As a data analyst, as a data scientist, you'd work on employee attrition, helping the company understand why employees are leaving and what they need to do. You'd work on data science salaries, getting data across different data roles and analyzing the data to see which data science job actually pays in which region and so on and so forth. You'd work on Redux Airlines case study, an aviation case study, a HR related case study, legacy group, FIFA analysis, charity case study, a fundraising case study where you as an analyst would help a charity organization to raise funds. And of course, you'd work on Titanic and so many other projects, all right? And some of the opportunities that exist within the space also involves a lot of remote work. So I'll share their stories with you. A lot of people that have gotten into the program, they currently live in Nigeria, they work in the US remotely, they earn in dollars and they spend in Naira. And these are some of your facilitators. Okay, the co-founder, Efemena, who is the data science lead. For those who will be joining the data science program, you'd work with Efemena very, very closely. And for those of you who are in the data analytics program, you'd work with myself very, very closely. And then you have other professionals. You have Nene, for example, who is a commercial analytics professional, currently works with Zelos. Zelos is a Nike licensee in the UK. You'd work with Nena, who is a product manager in the UK, Obina, who is a data scientist in Canada. Sheung is a business analyst. He works with Visa. You'd work with Sheung and so many other professionals across the globe to help you make that switch and help you get started in tech. All right. So myself, you have Toyin. Toyin is a senior data associate, the data analytics lead at Tenalytics. You'd work with Toyin as well for those in data analytics. You saw Mohammed. Mohammed walked you through the Python Fabric item in Fabric. Okay, Mohammed would also work with you. You have Oladapo. Oladapo is a senior consultant with Deloitte at Bermuda. He's also one of the resource persons that will work with you as well, especially within the area of Excel, how to use Excel, how to leverage Excel. And of course, for those of you in Canada, in the US, Olugbemi would work with you very closely to help you get jobs. All right. Olugbemi is a fantastic data professional. He's a Tenalytics alumnus. Okay, a fantastic story. Somebody, he resigned his job in Nigeria, wanted to relocate and move to Canada. He joined Tenalytics and told us that, look, I want to move to Canada and I want to get a job as a data analyst. What do I need to do? I simply told him, join the program. Okay, join the data analytics program. When he had his interview, I worked with him, ensured that we looked through all the nitty gritty. He went into the interview, did well. I wrote his recommendation, wrote his reference. And today, Olugbemi works as a business data analyst in Canada and has also helped so many other people to get jobs in Canada as well. And for those of you in data science, you have Efemena, who is the co-founder of Tenalytics. You have Brima. Brima is a senior data associate with Tenalytics. You have Toma, who is also a senior data associate with Tenalytics. You have Obina, who is a data scientist. He's going to work with you as well. Obina is in Canada, a fantastic professional, working with those in Canada and in the US, helping them make that switch. Ibrahim is a machine learning engineer in the UK. He's also going to work with you. Abdurrahman is a data scientist with one of the big four in the UK. You have Chinazam, who is a data analyst with DPD Ireland, who would also work with you. And then you have Emmanuel, who works with Softcom in Nigeria. For those of you that are in Nigeria, you would know Softcom. Emmanuel works with Softcom and will work with you in your data science program as well. Now, I've been getting a lot of DMs asking, oh, when is the next cohort starting? How much, what does it take for me to get into the program? Our next cohort starts on the 5th of August. On the 5th of August. And because it's still early, it's still early before the program starts. We have about 3 weeks before the program commences. We have the early bird discount. And we always encourage people to take advantage of this simply because people decide not to take advantage. And at the end of the day, they come back to start begging and say, oh, please, I want to get into the program. Is the discount still available? Most of the time, sadly, the discount is off and they have to make the full payment. So for those of you who would like to be a part of the program starting on the 5th of August, it would cost you £400 to get into the program. You're paying in pounds, or 320,000 Naira if you're paying in Naira. But this is the fee without the discount. Now, what is the early bird discount available? And this is only available for those currently on the call, for those that have joined this session. Okay, so, and it's also available just for the first 20 people. So instead of paying £400 to be a part of the program, you get to pay just £300. And that payment can also be made in 2 installments. All right, £200 to get started, and then £100 1 month after the program starts. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of paying 320,000 Naira, you get to pay 270, and you can make the payment in 2 installments as well. 180,000 to get into the program, to get registered, and then 90,000 1 month after the program commences. And if you're paying in dollars, instead of paying $500, you get to pay $400. $300 to start, $100 1 month into the program. And Canadian dollars, 350, instead of paying 600 Canadian dollars, you get to pay 500 Canadian dollars. 350 to start, and then 150 1 month after the program commences. Now, when you make your payments, we receive your payment, confirm your payment, because you'd send us your proof of payment and upload your receipts. Once we confirm your payment, we send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials you need. So if you've registered for data analytics, you need to download Office, Microsoft Office. You need to download Power BI, Tableau, SQL. how to start, set up ChatGPT, Microsoft Fabric, your welcome kit would contain everything for you need to get started so that you hit the ground running the first day you join the program itself. And for the data science as well, once we confirm your payments, Anaconda, where you'd have your Python to run your IDEs, Jupyter Notebook, all the different tools you need. You'd also have that in your welcome kit for you to install and get ready for the program itself. Now, how do you make payments? You can make payments using multiple channels, all right? You can make payments using PayPal. If you want to pay in pounds, for example, you want to pay in Canadian dollars, we have PayPal links for you to leverage and make your payment. So all you need to do is to click on the link, and I'll just show you how it works. And of course, I have some very interesting things to show you with regards to what the platform looks like and how you would navigate your way around the platform. So if I click on this link, for example, it takes me into PayPal. Okay, so all I need to do, this is Canadian dollars, all right? This is for the full payment. If I want to make full payment, for example, all I need to do is when I come to this page, I just click on buy now. Okay, buy now, click on PayPal. And once I click on PayPal, it would ask me to enter my email if I have a PayPal account. But if I don't, I just click on pay with debit or credit card. All right, enter my email, or I can enter my email, all right, or check out as a guest. Of course, you can just enter your email, click on continue to payment. It's going to enter your code if you have an account. If you don't have an account, it will take you to where you would enter your card details, and then you get to make your payments. That's using PayPal, all right? So if you don't want to use PayPal, you can also make payments by direct transfer. If you're making payments in pounds, you can send it to our pounds account in the UK. If you're making payments in Naira, you can send it to our Naira account in Nigeria, which is a Fidelity Bank account. And as soon as you make payments, all you have to do, send us a message on any of these numbers, send us a proof of payment, we confirm your payment, and then we get you into class, send you a welcome kit, and you become a part of the program. All right. No, the discount is not available for September. Now, what I always advise people to do, Mary, is, and a lot of people take advantage of this. Now, the discount is available for the cohort starting in August, but you might not be able to join in August because you have other commitments. All you need to do is take advantage of the discount and defer your program. All right. So when you're filling the registration form, you have a section that says, when do you want to start? If you are starting on the 5th of August, you indicate. If you are starting in September, which will start on the 2nd of September, the first Saturday of every month, we have a new cohort, but the discount is not available every month. And our prices would also change. Of course, you would notice that there's a huge fluctuation with the dollar, with the pound, and the Naira. Okay, so the prices would also change as well. So for you to take advantage of the discount, it's the best thing you can do is make your payments, commit, and then it's defer the program to start in September. You can also make payments using Paystack. All you have to do is click on the Paystack link. My colleagues would share this with you as well. Just click on the Paystack link. It takes you into the Paystack storefront, and all you have to do is click on data analytics, or you click on the full stack data science and machine learning. So if I click on this, for example, you can make your payments in full, or you can make part payments. If I want to make part payments, I just click on, let me see, part payment 2, for example. I have 180,000 and I can make my payments. Or I click on full payment and I can make the full payment to join the program. Okay. One last thing I want to show you before I take your questions and we call it a day are the success stories. Now, I think 2023 has been an amazing year for us. And we've done unprecedented work with regards to helping a lot of people transition. Now, within the last 5 days, we've had 6 people land jobs, 6 people. Of course, some of them have not started, so they don't want their pictures shown, but I'll just share, our exchanges, how they got the job, how they were able to prepare, and the type of jobs they got. Now, Sunday is one of them. Sunday got this job within the last week. All right, he got a job as a regulatory data analyst in the UK after training with us on our full stack data science program. All right, and of course, Edidiong is the class coordinator or the data coach for the data science program. So Michael Sunday sent a message to Edidiong saying, "Good evening, happy Sunday. I got a contract offer yesterday." This was just Sunday last week. Okay, this week rather. "I got a contract offer yesterday and it's a regulatory data analyst role. Okay, yes, I have been hired." So he got the offer. He got the job as a regulatory data analyst. He's still doing his internship with us. He's not even done. He's still doing his internship and he was able to land the role as a regulatory data analyst. Now, this is Sunday's story. Nate is, of course, the short form. He's one of the people that has not started the job yet. So, some people feel that, I don't want to jinx it by announcing it out there. Okay, so Nate also got a job as a data scientist in the US after training with us on our full stack data science program. And this was within, the space of a week. The first 4 roles I'm going to show you, the first 4 testimonials are within between Saturday and today. So within the last 5 days, we've had over 6 success stories and so many more starting from January, which I'll be sharing with you as well. You have them on the slides. So take your time, read their story, watch the videos. You have some videos. You can also watch the videos. Nate got a job as a data scientist. Amaka, also in the UK, got a job as a business support analyst after completing our data analytics program. And of course, you have Desola. Desola's own was very, very amazing, and I'll tell you the reason why. Now, we had a session where we had a group interview simulation. Okay, so in our mentorship session, some people said, look, sometimes we select maybe 2 people or 1 person, we get their CV and we get a job role. Go and prepare for this job role, would have an interview simulation during the mentorship session. So Desola also participated. She came up with a presentation based on the job she had applied to. They wanted her to do a presentation. So she worked with one of our analysts. She completed her presentation and she shared it with me. So she sent me a message. "Hi, Adeza, I just shared my presentation with you. I looked at it. The presentation was fantastic." Of course, I responded. I told her that Desola, the presentation looks fine. Go ahead and ensure you stick to the time limits. Okay, all the best. And guess what? That following Wednesday, she sent me a message to say she's gotten a job with the NHS. So she went for the presentation. It was absolutely fantastic. And Desola got the job. Okay, so Desola is somebody who has not also started. So that's why you don't have her picture here. All right, so Desola got the job just this week. We had a conversation yesterday about the role. And of course, she told me she needed to have a conversation with me about the role to help her make 1 or 2 decisions. We had that conversation yesterday, and she will be starting the job with the NHS as a business analyst. All right, now we also have Benga. Benga lives in Poland. And Benga got a job as a business data analyst after completing our data analytics program. And similar to all the other stories, Benga was so excited. He sent me a message, "Boss, I got this job." Now, Benga did not just get 1 offer. He got 4 offers. So apart from the one he was going with, he also got 3 more offers. Right. And of course, he went with the one that was going to give him remote work, the highest remuneration and all of that, job flexibility. So he was so excited and he was saying, "I appreciate the opportunity you gave to me." And of course, I was just telling him that, look, you took your chance joining us at Analytics and it paid off very well. You have Steven, similar story. Stephen also joined the program, always worked with Tesco in the UK, joined the program, and Stephen was able to get a job as a junior data analyst with the Access Group in the UK as well. You have Whistling, who works with Shell. She had never done anything analytics, and she got a job with Shell as a sales analyst. And this is Whistling's story. Similar to other stories, we had interview sessions. I sent her materials to prepare, and eventually she went into the interview, did amazingly well, and shared her, story with me. I've gotten the job. We had a conversation, and it was also super, super exciting. And this is Olugbemi, who is in Canada. Olugbemi got his job with a law depot in Canada, doing absolutely phenomenally well, and has also helped so many other people to make that switch. So I don't want to bore you. I can keep on going on and on and on. All the success story you have. Uthman works with the NHS as well as a business intelligence officer. You have Ubong, who works with Cognizant. He joined our full stack data science program and the data analytics program. You have Adebisi. Adebisi works as a data engineer with Jaguar Land Rover in the UK after completing our full stack data science program. All right. You have Ebube, who works with the NHS also after completing our data science program. All right. Ebube got a job before she completed, okay, because she was still discussing about her project. And she's saying, my new role as a data scientist, my first proper job in the UK. And of course, for those in the UK, you would understand what this means. First proper job in the UK. All right. You have Abdul Rashid, works in the US, works remotely. He lives in Nigeria, in Ilorin, Kwara State, in Nigeria. He works remotely as a data scientist with Chow 420, and he's doing very, very well. Okay. Of course, you also have Victor. Victor lives in Nigeria, works with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois, in the US, also after completing our program. And there's so many of them. Okay. I'm just going to take a pause. And what I just want to do is to quickly show you what the platform looks like. And then I'll take questions from you and we will call it a day. Okay. So when you join the program and when you register, how do you learn? Where do you have your different materials? How do you attend classes? What does it look like? All right. So I'll quickly show you that and then we would call it a day because the time is far spent. So let's see what the data science class looks like. Okay. What does the data science class looks like? So if you join the data science program, what would your class look like? So this is the cohorts that started this July. You can see cohorts 2023-07. That's the July cohorts. So once you join the program, you join this particular platform, and this is where all your materials will be hosted. So even if you miss a class, you're actually not missing the class because all the materials, the class recording, the data set, the project, they're all here. So you have your welcome kits, okay, the welcome message, you have your welcome kits. And I just want to show you the first class, all right? The very first class. So you have the introductory class where we welcome you into the class and so on and so forth. But I want to take you into your very first Excel class, okay? Let's look at the US accident dashboarding, okay? Let's look at that, or dashboarding live class, the class material. Now, this is where Tenalytics is different from any other platform. You learn by working on what? Projects. So you have a case study, and every class, every live class starts with a case study. Okay, so you put that into practice, you solve the problem. Now, if you remember what I was trying to show you, one of the projects you work on as a data scientist, you see this particular, case study solved by one of our participants. I'm just quickly going to change my screen to show you, and then I'll come back here. All right. You'd see one of the participants that solved this particular case study, and he posted it on LinkedIn, and that's it over there. So Adedapo And that's the US accident dashboard he was able to build using Excel, using the same case study I just showed you now, which you'd find in your classroom, one of the projects you're going to work on when you join the data science program. All right. So that's your dashboarding live class. Now I want to take you into the mock interview session. I talked about the mock interview session where Desola was also in that session. We had a conversation in that session, but the mock interview is something we do from time to time, just so that everybody can see how to answer questions properly. All right. What do you need to do? How do you answer the questions when you're asked specific type of questions for an interview? So I'm just going to play about maybe 1 minute of the mock interview, and then you'd see what it looks like. This session had over almost 300 people in attendance because we bring everybody from all the cohorts, from those that started in March, April, May, June, July. They are all in the same cohorts in that session, looking at what, and how people are answering questions, the way and manner in which they respond to questions. So I'm simply just going to play it for you. And I think after that, we call it a day. So what I'm going to do is to share my audio so that you'd hear every single thing discussed. So this is Efemena, the co-founder of Analyst. He started this session, and this particular session was for a very intelligent lady who is currently in one of our programs. Okay, her name is Lola. So myself and Efemena, we were interviewing Lola and asking her questions. So I'm just going to scroll to where Lola had started speaking and the question that was asked, so you can also get a feel of what it could be like joining a Analytics mock interview session. We had about 300 people on this call. So Lola was very brave to take the center stage answering questions. But let's listen to Lola just about 1 minute, and then I'll stop it. All right, fantastic, Lola. Okay, so your role as a senior Tableau would also involve the heavy use of SQL. You'd work with databases, you'd work with data warehouses, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm not looking at your CV. I can't see extensive use of SQL across your different work experience. So do you want to share some projects you've worked on using SQL as a major skill to solve that problem? Now, while you're answering that, the follow-up question would be, the role also involves a lot of optimization because you'd work with a very large data warehouse. So while you give us examples of the projects you've worked on, I also want you to talk about how you have optimized SQL queries, okay, to improve the performance and efficiency. So your application of SQL and also optimizing your queries to improve performance and efficiency. So just walk us through that, please.
Okay, I've been using SQL now for quite some time. I started using SQL since my university days. As a former student of system engineering and informatics, SQL was like one of the major it was one of the major courses I had to take part in school. So in my university days, I did a lot of projects on SQL, and for my work, I've used SQL to analyze lots of data related to my job. I've used SQL to query lots of data and information because the current company where I work is a large company. It's quite large. We have about 20 or 40,000 employees, and we support every one of them. So
all right, so I'm just going to stop it there. Okay, just for you to get a feel of what it's like to be a part of a mock session like this. All right, so of course we gave feedback to Lola at the end of the mock interview session, and over 300 people on that call also had the unique opportunity to learn from how Lola answered her questions, how she was able to marshal her points through, where she needed to make some changes, and how she could have answered the questions a bit better, and so on and so forth. Okay, Lola, by the way, resides in Czech Republic, and she's also doing amazingly well. Applied to a job, she had an interview, we've worked with her. She also decided to take this mock interview to also help to boost her confidence before going into the next level of interviews with the company she had applied to. So this is an example of how you get to learn when you join Analytics in any of our programs. And for the data analytics cohorts, something I just quickly want to show. For the July cohorts, we have 49 people in the morning class. When I say morning class, I mean the UK class, the Nigerian time zone, the West Africa time zone. We have 49 people in class. All right. Now, out of these 49 people in class for the morning class, only 20 took advantage of the discount. Okay. So altogether for the data analytics program for July, this is the EU, that's Europe. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, the time zones are different based on the class itself. Now let's look at the North America for data analytics. Okay, so we have the North America for those in Canada, for those in the US. If I click on people, we have 31 students in that class. So between the Canada class 31 and the EU class 49, we have 80 participants. 80. Now, guess what? Only 20 people took advantage of the discounts. All the other 60 people had to do what? Had to make the full payment. And that's why I always tell people, if this is something you want to do, you want to get into data analytics, you want to get into data science, the best thing for you to do is take advantage of the discount that exists, make your payments. Even if you want to defer, like Mary mentioned earlier, you can make your payment and defer to September. And of course, you have schedule your interview anytime. You can come in here, click on that to schedule an interview session that you have. Okay, so this platform is where you have all the materials. If you miss a class, all you need to do is come in here. You have all the class recordings. This is problem solving. The first class you take, your class slides, the slides are there. All you have to do is click on it and you have access to the slides. So all the different classes, you have your materials. Nene took that class on problem solving. Nene is a professional, currently works with Zelos. Zelos, like I mentioned earlier, is a licensee to Nike here in the UK. Nene took the class on problem solving. And these are the things they did. So for anybody who would have missed this class, all you need to do is come back to the platform and you have access to all the materials. Okay. So I think I'm just going to call it, I'll take a pause at this point in time, and then we will start to call it a day. I can see time is fast spent. It's been a bit quiet, and I'm sure, I hope you've not all gone to sleep. So I just want to get a feel. If you are still with me, you are still up, you are still awake, just type in "I'm here" into the chat so I know we are all still together. Just type in "I am here." Okay. So of course, fantastic. We still have people in class. All right. Okay. So again, I'm just quickly going to, I'm just going to take in questions. Thank you very much, Shagun, Tony. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to take questions and then we'll call it a day. It's been a long day and it's been a day well spent. The recordings, the slides, everything will be sent to you as promised. Okay. So if you have questions for me, any question at all regarding what has been done today, regarding how you need to make payments, regarding how you can transition, you have been trying, but you haven't really been able to crack that code, feel free. I'll be very happy to answer all the questions you have. You can drop your question in the chat, but if you feel very compelled to speak, you can use the raised hand icon, okay? And then I would ask you to unmute yourself, and I would love to hear from you, okay? How do we pay for the training? Can you share the link, please? Chisom, all right, so Chisom, I'm going to share the link to you, all right? And then Joan, I think my colleagues are on the call. Joan, if you're there, please send that to the charts for Chisom. No, so Kweku Boateng is asking, do you teach Python in data analytics? No, so the Python is for the data science program, for those who will be diving into data science, all right? So for data analytics, you would learn problem solving, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, ChatGPT, and Data Fabric for data analytics. So those are the 6 different tools you would learn. And for the data science, you'd learn statistics, you'd learn Excel for predictive analytics and forecasting, you'd learn SQL, you'd learn Tableau for data analytics, you'd learn Python for your EDA, for machine learning, and so on and so forth. You learn Python programming basically to visualize, to analyze your data, and then you'd also learn machine learning, both supervised and unsupervised, and then computer vision. Okay. How many months? It's for 4 months. Okay, Oluwase is asking, it's for 4 months. All right, so you have 4 months, 3 months project-based classes. So for 3 months, you are working on projects, you are building different, so all the theoretical concepts you watch on your Watch Me Do It videos on Sunday, you practice on Saturday by working on projects, okay? So 3 months you are in class, learning with a trainer, with a facilitator, with a professional, and then you have 1 month internship. And that's what makes it 4 months. So the 1 month internship is where you build your portfolio. That's where you build different projects that you would add to your portfolio, okay? Oluwase, do you want to expand on your question? Will the training be a holistic one? The training is robust, very robust, in the sense that all the things you need to start your journey as a data analyst and as a data scientist, you'd learn everything with Analytics, end to end, okay? Projects is the number one, is key to transitioning into the space. And I'll show you what I mean by that, okay? Let's go to, yes, I was showing you Sunday at Delucy. So what I'm going to do is this. I'll show you Sunday's profile, okay? I remember I mentioned that the first 4 people I mentioned, they just started their job. They haven't started their jobs because they got the job within the last 5 days. Okay, so I'm going to show you their profile on LinkedIn, and you see how important it is when you join a program at Analytics, some of the key things you'd have to do. So I'm going to search for Sunday at Delucy on LinkedIn. Just give me 1 second, and then I'll share my screen with you very quickly. Okay, yes, I'm just going to drag this, just give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm sure you can see my LinkedIn now. Yes. All right, so I'm going to search for Sunday at Delucy Michael. Yeah, that's him. Sunday at Delucy Michael. Okay, so you can see Sunday. All right, you can see Sunday. I'm going to click on Sunday's profile. Okay, I'll click on Sunday's profile, and let's have a look at Sunday's profile. So one of the first things you see is Sunday works with Analytics. If you look at the top of, you see his profile, you'd see that he works with Analytics. What does this mean? It's very important because organizations want to see that you haven't just learned like every other person who learns on YouTube. You are putting the skills into practice. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, you'd see on Sunday's profile, you'd see his, of course, his summary, professional summary, I'm a data analyst / scientist. He talks about himself. You see his features, you see the projects, he puts projects on his profile. And I talked about this earlier. This is what? Social proof. Social proof. Okay. If I scroll down a bit, you'd see what? Data analyst consultant with Analytics. So these are some of the things you must do when you join us. And this gives you what? Credibility. So when an organization sees that, oh, you have done this, you've done all these things you have here, you work with Analytics as a data analyst consultant, then you must know what you're doing. All right. He has different projects. He's also put on his profile. You can click on them to check. Okay. So if I click on this, for example, it takes me into this particular project that he built on Tableau. And of course, people comment on it and they say all the things he's done. And you can see whenever people post on LinkedIn, they also tag Analytics. You can see that over there. So this talks about the insights he got from the analysis he's done. So this is very, very important to you becoming a data analyst or a data scientist. Okay. So this is Sunday. We're going to look at maybe just one more. And then let's look at, let me see. Let's pick Benga or Amaka. Let's pick Amaka and see Amaka Ugochukwu. I think I searched for Amaka earlier today. So if I come to Amaka, the same thing, you see that Amaka also works with Analytics. So all our participants are also employees. Basically, that's what it means. All right, so you can see Amaka works with Analytics since January 2023. Of course, she has not updated her. She hasn't even resumed her work because, like I mentioned, they got the job within the last 6 days. But let's look at Olugbemi, who started his job since last year. Olugbemi Akaribo, who joined our program. He's in Edmonton in Canada. All right, Olugbemi, fantastic professional. Also helps a lot of people make the switch. Now, one of the things you would also see in Olugbemi's profile, you both worked at Analytics. All right. If I go back to his experience, you'd see data analyst with Analytics. All right. Since April 2022 to August 2022. Currently a business data analyst with a law depot in Canada. He's been doing that since September. So he joined our program in April 2022. And by September, he got this job in Canada. Okay. So from this, you'd clearly see that for those that have gotten jobs, and if I come in here and I do a hashtag Analytics and I click on that, like I mentioned, just give me 1 second, you'd see people creating social proof online. All right. So this is Deborah. Deborah, of course, built the Nestle product. Remember the Nestle product analytics I talked about? One of the projects we are going to work on. Let me just show you again. The Nestle products. I'll just quickly show, then I'll switch again. All right. That's the Nestle product analytics. So it's one of the projects we are going to work on. And for any project you work on, you must post it on LinkedIn to create social proof. So that's the Nestle product analytics. You see so many people that have worked on this. All right. So this is Deborah. This is her own analysis of the Nestle products dashboard. If I click on play, you see what she's done. She talked about her analysis and of course, tagging myself, tagging the co-founder, tagging Oladapo, who was the Excel facilitator, tagging Olugbemi, who also worked with her on Power BI. And of course, this was what she did. Interactive dashboard built using Power BI. Okay. And this is Deborah. Okay. So all you need to do is just see, come on LinkedIn and see what people are building. This is Godwin. Godwin got his certificate. He was posting it. This is Oladimeji, built this on Excel. This is Samuel, the farmer. I mentioned Samuel was a farmer earlier. This is Samuel's computer vision hands detection project, a data science project. So imagine a farmer who is a data scientist. So if I click on play, you'd see, let's see what Samuel has been able to do with this. All right, so you can see he built his project. It's a hand detection project. All right, so this is Samuel building this. I showed this on my slide earlier, where you saw a couple of people building something similar. So you build the same thing to using Python under your computer vision project, okay? So when you ask the question, how robust it is, these are people who have not done anything related to this before, and this is what they are building. So many of them, this is Godwin, they create all of this, write their insights, the tag 10analytics, hashtag 10analytics, Benedicta, and so many of them. This is Deborah again, okay, Folayemi. So just go online and check. Now, the focus for us is not just for you to learn the skill, okay? It's not just to learn the skill, like we always say. The focus is for you to get a job. So what do you need to get a job? That's our focus. And that's how we would work with you to ensure that you are able to get the job. Okay, so you create your social proof, your CV review sessions, your interview preparations, and so on and so forth. And that's what makes the difference at the end of the day. Okay, so let me see if I have more questions. What certification can you write? None. There is no industry recognized certification. You have different companies creating certifications to make money, obviously. It's totally commercial. Okay, so some people would say, oh, do the Google data certificate, do this one certificate, IBM. It's all useless. Okay, if you want to, I won't stop anybody from doing it really, but if you want to waste time doing that, then you can. But is it relevant in the industry? Absolutely not. And how do you check if certificates are relevant or not? Simply go to job descriptions, go online and search data science jobs, check the requirements. Do they need you to have a certificate to apply to that job? And that's how you can easily tell. So today, as it exists, there is no industry relevant certificates for data analytics, for data science, and so on and so forth. You don't need one anyway. If you have a certificate, I don't have a certificate. We are given a data set to analyze as an assessment during a job recruitment process. And you with the certificate cannot solve that assessment. And I solve it without a certificate. I'll get the job because no recruiter would ask you where your certificate is. They would ask you for the link to your portfolio so they can see your project. So what type of projects have you worked on? What can you do? And that's where they would want to see your work and how good you are before they get you on board. Okay, let me see more questions. Tony is saying, I missed the brief on, I didn't talk about business analysis, Tony, because today's session is data analytics and data science. We offer 7 different programs. We offer data engineering, we offer business analysis, HR analytics, financial analytics, Power Platform engineering, okay? But today's session is only for the data science and the data analytics. So I didn't talk about that. Okay, difference between data analyst track and data analytics, they're the same. Okay, one is to have the old name, data analyst track, and data analytics. So they're pretty much the same. I'm sure you saw that on the website, Ada. Okay, they're the same thing. If I may ask, which of the courses would you advise? Now, when people ask me the question, I always answer this way. It's totally dependent on you. Now, for some people, they say that, oh, I'm not sure if I can do statistics at this point in time. Some people are very scared of what? Statistics, anything related to mathematics. Okay, so they don't want to even go into that. Some people would also say, look, I'm in my 40s. I don't think I have the brain power to learn how to code at this point in time. But if that is not you, you enjoy coding, you enjoy statistics, then go ahead and register for the data science program. Okay. If you are somebody who would not want to, code, you are new, you want to just get started, you want to take it one step at a time, then you can start with the data analytics. Okay. So data analytics, you're not going to learn Python, you're not going to code, right? But you know how to get data manipulate the data, analyze the data, build your visualizations, and so on and so forth. Which one pays better? Both. Which one pays better? Both. Both. Do a search for data analyst roles. We can do that together very quickly. Kweku. Go on LinkedIn, search for data analyst roles, search for data science roles. You'll see numerous roles. And that's why our analytics participants are getting jobs every single day, because the jobs are there. The opportunities are available. Now, guess what? Organizations are not the one even saying, look, we need your expertise or we need your skills. Countries. The UK has the Global Talent Visa. I don't know if anybody knows about that. The Global Talent Visa. Canada has so many pathways. And in Canada, the average salary of a data analyst falls within about 75 to 80,000 Canadian dollars. And in the UK, it's the average. And when I say average, that's like, the entry point for you. Most people would get a lot higher than that. All right. For data analytics, it's about 75 to 80,000. For data science, it's between 85 to 100,000 Canadian dollars on the average. In the UK, data analytics is about 40,000 pounds per annum on the average. And as a data scientist, is between 50 to 60,000 pounds in the UK. All right. In the US, you get paid a lot higher as a data scientist. As a data scientist in the US, you are in six figures, about 115,000 US dollars per annum as a data scientist. And when I say, I mean that's the average. Okay, that's the average. All right. So in the US, you get paid a lot higher for some of these roles like data science and so on. Data science is six figures in the US. In Canada, it's just shy of that. Okay, but it also depends on how you are able to negotiate. I've worked with so many people. I'll tell you for a fact, so many people, so many get salaries that even me, myself, I find it very difficult to believe. Okay, somebody got a job. The person's profile is on this slide. I showed him to you. I talked about him. He was an accountant in Nigeria, had never done data analytics before. His first job as a data analyst was 60,000 pounds. Even experienced professionals in the UK don't get 60,000 pounds. And this is somebody who has never done data analytics, but he got a job that paid him 60,000 pounds per annum as a data analyst in the UK. Okay, so while you have the average, it could also move up or down depending on the industry, depending on the company, and so on and so forth. But the salaries are fantastic. That's a given. New Vision, you have your hand raised. I'll just ask you to unmute yourself. I think I'll take just New Vision's question and Benedicta, and then I'll call it a day. So Benedicta, the discount is off when we get to 20. So we had this session last week, I think during the weekend, and by Monday, all the 20 slots were gone. So for data analytics was gone, for data science gone, all the other programs were gone on Monday. All right. So if you're not sure if the discounts you want to, my advice to you is make payment as early as possible, or just reach out to us on any of these numbers. Just send us a message. Somebody would respond to you in the shortest period possible, less than a minute. You get a response, a minute or 2 minutes at the max. You get a response from us. Okay, New Vision, go ahead. I don't know if that's your real name, New Vision, or
okay. Sorry, I think I have my questions answered from the question section, so I think there's no need for that anymore. I was going to ask about the difference with the data and data analytics and the data science. So I think I have that answered with your questions already.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, somebody's sending me a personal question that he met with me somewhere in 2020. That was about 3 years ago. And okay, so Kende, I think I remember you, Kende. I'm not sure if you're the same person. I'm not sure. So Kende, what you can do is just send me a message. All right, just send me a message, Kende. I'll send my email to you. Just send me an email. Let's talk. Okay, Kende, send me an email. All right, send me an email. Okay, do you have a curriculum ahead of the class? Absolutely, Ada. So like I mentioned, for all these different, so again, part of the link sent to you and what you'd also get in your email when you get the recording would also be the brochure for the different programs. All right, so you see the brochure for the data analytics program where you get to see the nitty-gritty. So in Excel, what am I going to learn? In Power BI, what am I going to learn? In Tableau, what am I going to learn? You'd see the nitty-gritty of all the things you'll be learning. Okay, and from there, you can easily make a decision. So you'd have that. And of course, you'd also have something called the welcome kit, like I mentioned. And the welcome kit contains, it would also have your lesson plan. So on Saturday, the 5th of August, what do you start with? Problem solving. What time? 11 to 2 p.m., depending on your region. If you're in the UK, BST. If you're in West Africa, West African time. If you're in Canada or the US, Toronto, Canada time, you'd have your timetable and all the specifics. But for the data analytics, I'll just go over it one more time for the benefit of those. So you learn problem solving, you learn Excel for analytics, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, and Microsoft Fabric and ChatGPT. For data science, you would learn statistics, Excel for forecasting and predictive analytics, SQL, Tableau, Python, Microsoft Fabric, and ChatGPT for analytics, machine learning, and computer vision. Okay, so those are some of the things you will be doing. How do we refer? So yes, we have a referral scheme, Nelly. So all you need to do is when you refer somebody, just tell the person to mention who referred them, okay, and the details, the phone number and the email. So we make a confirmation, and we have a referral scheme available, okay. So for some people, what we always get is, oh, I might not be able to join, but I have a brother, I have a cousin, I have a sister, I have a friend who I think I can recommend to join, okay? So you can always do that, all right? Let me see. I'm not sure I have any more questions. Okay, Tony is asking, the DA track involve Excel? Okay, I think I just answered that now. Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, and problem solving. Okay. And of course, ChatGPT and Microsoft Fabric. Tony, I think I answered that question already. Let me see. Okay, so I think those are all the questions I have. All right. So learning is not usually always complete if you don't put that learning into practice. So some of the things you see when you get our slide, I want you to go through it. Okay. You'd see where our participants write articles of what they've learned. Now, when you learn something, you've worked on projects, you also need to be able to showcase to the world. You have articles. Also try to watch the videos of Adebola, what Adebola said, which was absolutely phenomenal. Okay. I'm just going to play very quickly. It's very short, 30 seconds, I think. Just 30 seconds. Let's listen to Adebola very quickly. And then I'll show you the articles our participants have also written. So let's listen to Adebola and hear what Adebola has to say. Just a 35 seconds video of Adebola. Okay. I think the video is in a Google Drive, so it's taking a little while to play, but it will come up.
Hi, my name is Adebola. Enrolling with Analytics was one of the best decisions I made. Their learning process is seamless, and they don't just leave you to yourself after you've learned. They take you by the hand to make sure you're well placed in the right place, to make sure you're well groomed, to make sure that you actually put the skills you have learned into practice. I really, really, really appreciate Analytics for what they did for us. it was money well spent. The value gotten is way, way more than the money spent. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's Adebola Aderomu. I think I've watched this video like maybe 1,000 times now because I always find it very, interesting. It sounds very good when you listen to something like that. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, some of the articles you'd see people writing when they join the program to also showcase to people, to recruiters, to companies that you're an expert in this area. You'd see Michael, for example, talked about the measure of central tendency. The measure of central tendency, things that we did in statistics in high school, but we had no idea what we were doing. Mean, median, and mode. How do we use mean, median, and mode to solve any problem? How is that important when we are trying to address missing values in data? You'll be shocked how important it is. So we encourage our participants to go ahead and write articles on Medium. Okay, so you can also take out time, read the articles. The links to the articles are there. And this is Michael talking about how he started his journey with us and how he has been able to learn, a couple of things. This is Oreolua talking about regression analysis. She also wrote this as well. You can also read it. This is Sadiq. Sadiq is in Canada, talking about the histogram and box plots. This is Emmanuel. Don't study data science read it as well, okay, and see what he has to say. Measure of variability, written by Ademola. Okay, so read all these articles. And when you see things like this, you start to understand the reason why our participants are so successful when it comes to landing jobs. Okay, when it comes to landing jobs. And that's simply because learning doesn't just happen in class, like the conventional platforms most of us are used to, which I would say are largely inefficient. I myself, I have 1,000,001 programs I've registered for, but I never completed because you get stuck. You don't have anybody to help you solve that problem. So you're stuck. So if I'm in a program with Analytics, how do I ensure that I'm able to move ahead even when I'm stuck? So after a class on Saturday, you have a problem. All you need to do is send a message to your class coordinator on your WhatsApp group, and they will schedule something called a drop-in session. They schedule something called what? A drop-in session. So the drop-in session is simply to help those that have problems in class during the week agree on a time when you can meet to solve that problem. Okay, so let's assume you've joined the program, you're stuck, you've tried to do something that was done in class on Saturday, but you're struggling to do it. So how do you get somebody to support you? Your data coach would schedule something called a drop-in session. It's a one-on-one session. You have that drop-in session, and every drop-in session is recorded. Okay, just because if I solve that problem for one person, another person might have a similar problem, and that person can just go and watch the recording and get it sorted out. All right, so this is an example of a drop-in session in a Google Classroom. Okay, so you can see the different drop-in sessions, session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you join those drop-in sessions, you solve your problems, and then you move on to the next things. You have data analytic job roles. Okay, so is not everything we're going to share on the free session, because the job roles are: how do you apply to data analytic jobs? What are the different websites you can leverage? So these are some of the things under the Navigating the Job Market session we also provide to our participants, and all the materials are yours. They are yours for life, free access to all the materials as long as you join the program. So part of the CV review videos are going to watch how to customize your LinkedIn URL, how to write a stellar professional summary, how to introduce your introduction, and let me see what this is. Your introduction and standard practices, basically. So this would help you with your CV, and you get to work on that, and then you are good to go. So we're going to call it a day at this point. All right, how do you install the tools? You have all the materials in your welcome kits, which will be sent to you. Power BI is not there, but SQL is there. Chisom is asking. All right, for data science. Now, because Power BI is not a very good tool for predictive analytics, it can be done, but it's a lot more complex when you're trying to, carry out statistical analysis using Power BI. Okay, so that's why for the data science program, you learn how to use Tableau. Tableau is more robust when it comes to statistical analysis. And that's why Power BI is not a part of the data science program, but you learn Tableau for your data visualization. SQL, like I mentioned, remember this, Chisom, and take it to the bank. Anywhere you find yourself, mention that Adeza told you this. If you want to get into any role that has data in front of it, that has to do with data, data analyst, data scientist, business data analyst, HR analytics, it has analytics, you're going to work with data, financial analytics. SQL is very, very important. You can't run away from it. You might not use it depending on the organization, okay? But one thing I've seen over time is even though you won't use it, organizations would request that you have it, all right? So all our programs that has to do with data, you have SQL as part of them, okay? So when you get the materials, you'd also get to see all the details shared with you. Thank you very much, guys. It's been an amazing time with you. It's been a time fast spent, and I think we'll call it a day at this point. Now, for those of you who would like one-on-one sessions, so probably you are an accountant, you don't know what to do. I don't know if I should join data analytics or data science. I've done procurement. I'm a procurement analyst, or I'm a supply chain analyst. I don't know which of the programs to register for. You want to have a one-on-one session with myself or with the co-founder, please if you're in a WhatsApp group, drop a message on your WhatsApp group. Somebody would respond and schedule a session with us. So we help you answer any question that we must have missed during the session now, or any other question that you'd like to ask going forward. Kenny said I didn't answer your question. I'm not sure I can see your question, Kenny. Okay, I registered in July 2023 to start in August. No, that's fine, Kenny. That's not a problem at all. Okay. Financial analytics. You've not received your welcome kits. Yes. So now my question to you, Kenny, has your payment been confirmed? Did you receive an email from us that your payment has been confirmed? Yes or no? Kenny, if you can hear me quickly and just respond. Have you received an email from us to confirm your payment, that your payment has been confirmed? If the answer is yes, you're not sure, I only did a part payment. It doesn't matter, Kenny. Even though you did a part payment, you should receive, depending on when you paid as well. If you paid today, you might receive your email tomorrow or sometime during the weekend. All right. But as long as you've made payments, there is no issue. You have our numbers. I'm going to display the numbers again, or you can send us an email to any of the emails I'm going to share with you now. So you can send us a message, Kenny, on any of these numbers. Okay, just send us a message or send us an email to dataanalytics@10analytics.io or datascience@10analytics.io. All right. So Kenny, what you need to do is send us a message. So when you make payments, a link will be sent to you where you fill and upload your proof of payment. So when you upload your proof of payment, we confirm your payments, we send you a confirmation, and then you'd also receive your welcome kit. Okay, so just send us a message, you'll get a response immediately. All right. Okay, you're welcome, Kenny. So thank you very much, guys. I think we'll call it a day at this point. Thank you for those that stayed till the end. For us, I always tell people that we always want to give value whenever we have sessions like this. So if you've gotten value for your time, share the word, share it to your family members, those that you think they can benefit from this. Okay, you might not be the one to join the program because probably you have so many other things you are doing, you have so many other commitments. But if you ever wanted to get into tech, especially within the data ecosystem, 10 Analytics is your best bet. And looking at the rest of the year, July is fast spent. You start your program in August. By the time you are getting into November, you are wrapping up your program. So you've achieved something phenomenal in 2023. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And I hope you've learned one or two things today. Email address again. Do you know what, Kenny? Just send me a direct email. Okay, so I'm going to drop my email to you, Kenny. Just send me a direct email at deza@10analytics.io. Okay, just send me an email, Kenny. We'll sort it out. Okay, send me a direct email and then I'll sort it out for you personally. So my email is at deza@10analytics.io. Thank you very much, guys. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Until we see some other time. Cheers.